This summer, one man will fight a whole army of whatever.
This week we have Mr. Brian O'Shea.
Whenever you're going through shit, feel it. Feel like shit. Like, let it destroy you.
Okay.
Brian is an actor, content creator, and multilingual entertainer.
Why do you want to pretend to be someone else when you're not that person?
Once you push it enough, you're not even pretending anymore. You literally become
Are.
that person for a
Yeah.
bit. But when you're acting, you literally need to go as deep as you can into that character. I always say that if I had a clone, I would be my best friend.
Okay.
I'm so ready. 2024, baby.
Before we get started, if you could do me one favor, if you received any value out of this podcast, please take the time to like and subscribe to the show. My goal is to keep growing this podcast and bring you the most creative and talented humans in the entire world. Taking the time to like, subscribe, and comment allows me just to do that. Thanks, y'all. Cheers,
Bro,
You have a very good, there's a radio voice, bro.
thank you. It's fake, obviously. This is my voice, so
No, I know.
I just bring it down.
Do you practice that? Have you ever practiced, like, those type of voices?
Yeah, I have like a bunch of voices. I tried dabbling in voice acting.
Okay. So how do you go to it? Like, do you
Yet
just
to get a
decide,
gig.
do you just like practice? I don't know. Like someone's like, I don't know. What's that guy's name? The black guy who has a voice of like clouds.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, I
right?
love Morgan.
Like, what do you just like throw someone like Morgan Freeman on and try to imitate it? Like,
I've never done that. No, it's always been more like, I don't know, just like making fun with friends and being like, this summer, one man will fight a whole army of whatever. And it's...
dude, that's good.
Thank you. Well, like, you know, with Pang and Kevy, when we watch Puss in Boots,
Yeah.
I would imitate like the voices of like Puss in Boots or Jiminy Cricket,
Yeah.
and we'd just have fun with it. And then at some point, somebody's just like, "Whoa, that was actually really close to it," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Huh, I'm gonna try that out." By myself, and then I'm like in the shower trying,
Yeah.
you know, because it's so weird. If like, just imagine if you were the neighbor of that friend of yours that does that for a job, and you
Okay.
like listening through the wall, your neighbor saying shit like that.
What do you even think about that though? Do you think about that? Do you think about what your neighbors think about you in the shower?
No, but what I'm saying is like it's very self-conscious once you're not ready. Like for example,
do you
now that
mean?
I know
What do you
that
mean?
now that I know that I can do that trailer voice,
Okay.
I can do it in a camera in front of like millions of people, hopefully. But when I'm not ready, when I'm not confident about it,
Yeah.
it's like I don't want anybody to hear that shit.
Okay.
I don't want to. Yeah.
You want to have it down before it gets in.
Yes.
Gets crowd work.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very self-conscious about stuff that I'm not confident about.
Okay, so how long does it take you to get confident in that voice or in that whatever skill you're trying to do? Like, obviously, I feel like a voice thing is going to be shorter than, obviously, some martial arts flow.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, because like it's not like I do that for a job. It's just
Yeah.
like a thing I do for fun.
Yeah, but you used to act in China and stuff, correct?
yeah.
So, like, you did have to prepare for these roles, and, like, did you ever have to do a different type of voice, or was it always just, like, your regular voice?
For the roles in China, just because of the sheer difficulty of getting the words down in Chinese, because I'm fluent in Chinese, but I'm not at a native level in which I can just grab a script, memorize it real quick.
Zero. So that it's not like that.
No, because like every time I would get a script,
But you
there's
could
like,
do that in English.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like in Chinese, there's always like a 15% of the words that I don't know, and I need to like learn those words, and I
Okay.
need to be able to say them in a way that sounds like I know those
That's
words.
interesting because, like, I feel like when I was looking at your stuff in Chinese and everything, it seems that you know most of the words. Like, so there is things that you don't know.
Acting. There's so much shit I don't know. Like, especially in the beginning.
Okay. So do you learn English before Chinese?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of languages, you know a lot. You know Italian as well as Spanish, correct?
Yep. And I'm
Okay.
learning Japanese right
And you're
now.
learning Japanese. What inspired you to, like, was English your first language?
No, Spanish.
Spanish was your first language. Okay. I don't even hear a Spanish accent, dude.
Fuck you.
Like, how's I guess, what was the progression of language building? Like, at what age?
So I I'm Argentinian.
Okay.
So I grew up speaking Spanish. Then I went to an Italian school when I was a kid.
In Italy?
No, in Argentina.
Okay.
Because I was born with an Italian passport, and my parents were like, if you're going to go around the world with an Italian passport, learn the fucking language.
How were you born with an Italian passport? You were born in Italy?
No.
Okay.
I've actually, and this is crazy, never been to Italy.
You haven't?
Never.
It's one of the most beautiful places.
I know.
Florence, Rome, bro. It's romantic as fuck. The
I want to
art
go to
pieces.
Positano, Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre. Yeah, bro.
I want to go with money, though. Italy is that place that I want to go when I have so much money.
No. I mean, you can. It's cool. But also, like, I did it on a very low budget, and it was one of the most cool things I've ever done. Like, the hostel route, the type of people that you meet in these places, like, for example, I'd show up to a bar at 2 a.m. and I think every night it's around $35, $40, right? It's a beautiful, like, hostel. Like, there's a rooftop pool. There's 5-6 people in your room. I think there was this girl from Australia, these 2 guys who are backpackers, like different type of stories, right? And what I learned is every time I went into a different hostel, there's a bar at every hostel that you walk in. And beer, the US dollar is superior to the euro at this time. I don't know what it is now. So it was basically €1 for $1 at the time. It was 1 to 1. And the beers were around $3-4. I was like, what? And me as a bartender in LA, usually like a beer's like $9 to $12.
Oh, so it's way cheaper.
Way cheaper. So what I decided to do is like 5 or 6 people are always sitting down at a bar at every hostel.
Buy them around.
So I was like, 1 round on me. And then now you have 6 to 7 best friends. They're like, yo, this guy just bought me around. And they just tell you everything that you need to do. Hey, this is where you get your ticket to the Statue of David. Hey, you need to go see this play. You have to see these art pieces. You have to go see X, Y, and Z. And their stories are insane. Like, there's this one guy I met from Germany. He was like, he saves up 6 months out of the year, his entire salary, and he blows it the other 6 months. He just like travels for 6 months.
That sounds like, I lived in Germany for a bit,
Yeah.
and that sounds like a lot of people were doing that.
Yeah.
They only have like a restaurant that only works in summer, and then winter they go travel.
Yeah. So there's something different about like traveling to Italy on a budget. I think it's very doable, and I think you meet type of people who, because like when you have money and do it, from what I understand, my friends who like booked like really high-end hotels and everything like that, you don't really get to experience that side.
Yes. So let me say something about that, because I'm all about living the local life.
Yeah.
Like, I hate people. Hate is a strong word. I dislike people that go to a new country
Sure.
and go to fucking Met Club and like Club Med, sorry.
Sure.
And like go to like a really nice hotel that's all inclusive and you don't leave the hotel. Like, what's the point of traveling? So I would go. The reason I said I want to go with money is because I want to go to like really fucking nice restaurants in Italy, because I know that the food is delicious.
Yeah.
I want to stay in the best hotel in Cinque Terre with like the absolute gorgeous view.
Yeah.
But I still want to go and like check the street food.
Yeah.
Go to like the hole in the wall.
Sure.
It's just that I'm 30 now, dude. Like,
That's still young, bro.
hostels,
That's
but
still young.
I'm past the hostel.
You're
life.
right, but like also
I don't want to share a bathroom.
That's fair.
Like,
That's fair.
I really
That's
don't.
fair. I feel like if you go with a significant other, I feel like having that experience would be dope. But I feel like the hostels going by yourself. I met people who were all the way up until like their 50s in hostels.
And they were okay with that. I think for me,
you're just not okay with it.
I used to. I travel all the
Right
world.
now, you're just
staying
not
in
cool with
hostels.
it.
I'm not. I'm really not. Dude, one time in Australia, I was staying in this hostel. In the middle of the night, the guy in the top of my bunker bed throws up on my backpack.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, it's fine, bro. It's fine. Trust me, it's fine. I'm like, it's not fucking fine. My backpack has your puke all over.
If I had that experience, I probably would not want to stay in the hostel at all either.
Exactly.
So I get your point. I've had very lovely people that I share rooms with, and I feel like if I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't talk so profoundly about it. But
I think I had some bad experiences.
Yeah, because if someone throws up on your shit, I'd be very pissed.
I also had a huge, very violent Irish guy kick me out of the room one time because he wanted to have sex with a girl.
Yeah. The hostel culture of like having sex is very. I don't know. You walk in and there's like a whole bucket of
condoms.
Oh.
No, it's like promotive. Like I think so.
Oh, I've never seen that.
You never seen that?
I've seen like beds covered with like a bed sheet.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
And so it's like, it's intimate, but it's like, just imagine being that person that got invited to a hostel to have sex, and it's like, this is my bed. It's like,
Brian's
wow.
like, I need my hotel with the view of Cinque Terre.
Yeah, dude.
That's the main reason.
yeah, pretty much. And so I'm in a different moment of my life now, I think. Yeah, that doesn't sound appealing to me.
Back to the speaking languages.
We went completely off track.
But Spanish and
Spanish. I learned Italian in pretty much primary
Do you
school.
want to finish why you have an Italian passport?
Oh, okay. So my great grandfather was Italian, and so in Argentina, a lot of Italians came, and so if you can prove that you have somebody that was Italian 4 generations down, you can actually claim that citizenship.
Okay, so you had both. You had Argentina
Yes.
as well as Italian. Okay.
Double citizenship.
And your mom was like, if you're going to travel with an Italian passport, you better fucking learn Italian.
Pretty much, but it's funny because my parents don't speak Italian, and they both have the passport.
That's wild.
Right? It's hypocritical a little bit.
But at least now you can speak Italian.
Yeah, and it's actually it's so funny. It's my weakest language.
It's so romantic. I get turned on anytime someone speaks Italian, bro.
I'm not gonna speak it then. I don't want you turned on here, man. This is we're not gonna start doing the sexy voice acting that your friend does. But yeah, it's like my weakest language because it's the only one I went to class for. All the other ones I kind of learned on the go, like English, Mandarin, Spanish.
How do you learn Mandarin on the go?
That's a good question. I just moved to China.
For how long?
7 years.
Yeah. You could learn. Yeah, I feel like you'll just learn it if you're there for that long, or else you're gonna like die.
I know. Saying that, I know so many people that live in China and they don't speak Chinese.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like, dude, for 10 years, 15 years, it's like, how do you not speak Chinese, man? You live in a place like, sure, you have friends that speak English. You have like your restaurants that you go to, whatever, in Shanghai, super cosmopolitan. But it's like, you live in a country that doesn't speak that language.
Yeah. What inspired you to learn, move to China?
The food.
Purely food.
Just the food.
So were you like...
I knew nothing else about China.
So I've read up a little bit. You were a food blogger?
Yeah.
At the time, were you a food blogger in Argentina?
No. So it's about to get real confusing. I was living in Australia.
Okay.
Studying acting, living in Chinatown.
Okay, hold up. Rewind a few steps. So you lived in Argentina first.
Until I was 19.
Okay, so no other places except for Argentina.
Yeah, until 19.
Okay, I don't know anything about Argentina. Like, how would you describe it?
Argentina? It's an interesting place.
Okay.
It's
Can you give me like a different landmark that I can like relate it to? Like, what is it like? Is it obviously it's not like Los Angeles. It's not like San Francisco.
It's interesting. My biggest kind of pet peeve of Argentina is that everything revolves around football and soccer.
Okay.
Right? Soccer is huge.
I feel like most places in the world do that though.
No. You haven't. This is a different level.
Okay.
Like literally, all people talk about. For example, when I was in primary school, PE, it'd be like, "All right, guys, what sports do you want to play? Football." And I was like, "Can we play basketball?" No. Like the teacher would say, "No, well, let's play." Like there was only football. I'm calling it football. It's soccer for those of you who use the wrong word for it. And
freaking Americans.
And like everything, like I know people who don't, like friends that don't speak to each other anymore because they are from opposite teams.
Okay.
I know people who have died because they were rooting for the other team. They literally got jumped and killed.
Deep. It's that deep.
Dude, crazy.
Wow.
I know friends who have people I know that have smashed another person I know's car because they're from the other team. Like people go crazy about football there. And it's like, I never understood why. Like I've always had an issue like understanding how it gets to that point.
I mean, the reasoning is tribal, right? from what I understand. It's like back in the day, a lot of people, like, that's their tribe. They identify with that team. That's their people. And you see it in the States as well with, like, football, or I feel like they have more options here, right? So you have more things to, like, I attach to. Over there, I feel like soccer is the biggest and one of the only sports.
But what are you attaching to?
So you can't really, it's the whole thing, the whole fan base. It's like that culture of that team. Like, you know, do you know American football at all? Like,
No.
you've heard of the Raiders?
Raiders.
Yeah, right?
I also know
So, like,
Rams. The Rams.
Rams.
Whose house? Rams' house, baby.
So, like, the Rams don't have, in my opinion, a big culture to the team. So, if you talk about Raiders fans, like, people know Raiders fans. They're wild, you know?
Okay.
Like, and I feel like it's the same thing with these soccer or football teams. It's like, yo, you know, that type of teams, Argentina's teams, like football team. Like, people are diehards. They'll be offended if you talk some bad thing about their player. And it's just for them to get some enjoyment from it. If their team wins, they win. If their team loses, they lose.
Sure. But so what is it? The institution?
No, it's the whole culture of the sport. It's like they identify with their team. Like, their wins, the team's wins is their wins. Their losses are their
And
losses.
so if all the team players get changed, they still a fan, right? If the owner changes, that still happens. What if they
Most
change
of
the
the time.
logo? What if they change the name? What is it? You know, it's like the ship of
Yeah.
Theseus.
Sure.
Which part
Yeah.
is the actual
Yeah.
core?
Yeah, that is true. For example, the Lakers, like, my uncle is a really big Lakers fan, but he hates LeBron. Like, absolutely hates LeBron. So he doesn't watch he's been watching every single Lakers game until LeBron got traded into the Lakers. And I was like, that's interesting. So, like, just because this one player's on the Lakers that you don't like, you don't, like, pay attention to the team anymore. So you're right. There is many factors that
Right?
go into it.
Yeah, and it's like at the end of the day, I'm like, you're buying into this. It's a corporation. Like,
Yeah.
somebody's making money out of
lot of
your
people-
passion.
Yeah.
And it's like you think you're part of this like group and everything, but somebody's cashing those checks,
Yeah.
bro. And it's like, and you're just there, you know, just being completely absorbed. But I don't know. I've never felt that. And again, I grew up in a household that wasn't into soccer.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why I don't get it. But yeah, to me, it's a wild idea.
That's what Argentina's like.
Very intense. Yeah, no, like literally, as a kid, I didn't have many friends because they would all be like, yo, let's get together and play FIFA, or let's
Yeah.
get together and watch the game. And I
And
was
you're
like,
like,
can we
I'm
do
not
something
into it.
else?
Yeah.
Can we watch anime? Can we like do
Yeah.
martial arts? And they were like, no,
So no one else is into the stuff that you were into.
no.
Really?
And so I would spend weekends playing video games by myself at home, and my mom would come and be like, hey, Brian, do you want to like go out and drink and get drunk with your friends? I was like, no, I'm good. You sure? You guys I can buy the alcohol. You can
Yeah.
come home and drink.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm good.
Wow, your mom was like, my kid's so weird.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So that inspired you to move to China?
No, I didn't.
You said the
move-
food.
I didn't move to China from Argentina. From Argentina, I went traveling around Europe,
Okay.
backpacking,
Sick.
couch surfing.
Love that.
That way, couch surfing is even better to.
What lessons did you learn from that experience?
Oh, bro, that was crazy. You learn that you actually don't need shit in
You don't
life.
need shit.
You just need
A
food.
backpack and food.
Yeah, and if it rains, you need a shelter. That like literally it.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like bordering homeless. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you literally don't need
Arguing,
anything.
yeah.
And you kind of learn so much about your limitations and what you're willing to do and like what you're willing to sacrifice. Sometimes I slept on bus stops
Yeah.
overnight because like I wouldn't get a ride.
Yeah.
And that was totally fine. Like I have pictures of myself sleeping.
What
sleeping.
motivated you to do that? Because you had this like nice comfy home in Argentina.
I was not happy. I didn't feel like I belonged.
How so?
Again, this whole like football thing that I never felt like I always felt like a misfit
Yeah.
growing up.
Like, these aren't my people.
It's sad to say because I love Argentina and whenever I go back I have friends and family that I'm like, you know, it's like nothing happened. But the country itself, like the whole society, I just don't feel like I belong. I mean, there's nothing wrong specifically with
Yeah.
it. I just never connected. And so I kind of wanted to go and explore the world and be like, maybe there's somewhere out there where I can feel
Fit
like
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like I found that in LA because there's so many misfits here.
So many.
And this like little misfit city got created, and like people belong because nobody belongs anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I fucking love that. And so yeah, I went traveling around Europe. Then I decided I wanted to be an actor when I was in Norway. I lived in Norway for like half a year.
Why did you want to be an actor?
Just because it's a profession that changes with you. It changes all the time. I get bored of things. And so I didn't want to do a job that is going to be the same thing every day for the rest of my life. And so acting just sounded like, yeah, you're a character one day and then for like a couple months and then you change.
Like you're someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that sounded awesome.
I feel like the opposite of that when you talk about it. Like, why do you want to pretend to be someone else when you're not that person?
Ooh. That's a very good question. It's not like I'm not happy with who I am. I actually really fucking love who I am. I always say that if I had a clone, I would be my best friend.
Okay.
Such a weird thing to say.
I feel like most people would.
No, I feel like so many people would clash with personalities like themselves.
Okay.
It's such a weird thing to say, super narcissistic, but whatever, I've said it. It's out there. It's in the internet. Why would I want to be someone? I don't know. I feel like it's so cool. Ever since I was a kid, I would love to put on costumes like Spider-Man or Superman and just pretend for a second that I was a superhero. Yeah. And I feel like that kind of stuck with me. Like I love to explore a different person for a bit.
What does it do for you?
It gives me perspective. It literally changes the way I think, and I can see things from a different perspective once I fully
embrace that character.
Yeah,
because you wouldn't be in that person's shoes without pretending to be them.
Like I feel like once you push it enough, you're not even pretending anymore. You literally become that person for a bit. Yeah, and that's boring method acting there.
But I guess if you take away the method acting part, like. You're pretending to be a lawyer, right? And you're not actually a lawyer. But you won't know the law terms if you didn't decide to play that role or audition for that role or X, Y, and Z.
Right, and you end up doing so much research for a character. And you just learn a bunch of shit. Like, I love learning new things, even if it's never going to be useful to me. But, like, for example, let's say I'm going to play a lawyer. Yeah. And I'm learning what a subpoena is. I'm learning what, like, a prenup, like, whatever. All these, like, legal terms. That's whatever
Brian's
I can come
I
up
need
with.
to know what a prenup is for sure.
No, not yet, at least. Give me a couple of years until I become rich. And, like... You know, you learn all these things, and I just love learning new things. Just having that, it feels almost as if there's like an achievement unlocked in your brain. It's like a sense of achievement. You're like, oh, I just unlocked something.
I feel like it makes people more interesting when they know things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I could talk to someone all day if they just spit off random facts and about things that they've learned. I'm like, what? Really? Like, why is this monkey this way? Or like, you've learned about this subject, or like for your Cali stick stuff, like I took a couple classes on it in college, and my Sifu, I went to UCLA, and I took this theater class, and that's his life. Like martial arts is his life. He's like in his 70s, and it's his biggest joy. And him describing it in that way, like this pure passion for these art forms, I'm like, whoa. Like, that's beautiful. When someone dives so hard into something, it's like, I don't want to do that, but I want to know a little bit about it.
Right, and just imagine, going back to the acting, just imagine, you're saying that's so cool that person's so passionate about that. Just imagine tapping into that feeling for a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, when you're not an actor, you can dive into different things for a little bit. Just like you go very shallow into different things, like, you know, jack of all trades, whatever. But when you're acting, you literally need to go as deep as you can into that character. So let's say I were to play your Sifu. I would try to get as passionate about Cali as possible. Learn everything. Just be there. Like, soak all of that information every day for as long as I can. And eventually you will tap into that passion that your Sifu was feeling, right? And that's so cool, because... one thing is to devote your whole life into that one thing, like martial arts, right? And that would be, you know, that's not necessarily what I want to do, But to be able to tap into the feelings that that person has over his passion, he's like whole life passion, that's a whole other thing, man.
Yeah.
And that just feels so fucking good.
And you get to experience it from that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you come back to your own self, and you're like, that was dope.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take whatever I feel like works for me from that.
Yeah.
And then the rest, let it go.
Yeah. Obviously, you didn't know these feelings when you decided to be an actor in Norway, though.
No, I just wanted to have fun. I just didn't want to have a boring ass job.
Yeah.
But then, at this
Because
point,
back then you're probably just like, I want to do something cool.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know
Something
you were
fun.
Yeah. You're fun. You didn't think this was gonna be like. Obviously, they're results of the decision, but you didn't know you were gonna have these feelings.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was more of a calling, really.
Okay.
Like now looking
Calling.
back,
What do you mean calling?
like a universe calling, like
There's a voice. Is there a voice?
no, not a voice, not like no, not like
Like your
crazy.
conscience. Like for example.
It's more like it just feels like that's what I'm supposed to do. Like I don't see myself doing anything else but acting.
Okay, so I have a voice in my head.
Like an actual voice, do you like hear it?
No.
Should get that checked. No, just messing.
Maybe not. It could be, but like it's like Nate, you need to do this. You need to do this thing or X, Y, and Z. You know, it's like, hey, you need to do this today, or you need to go to Europe and experience this experience. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're talking about?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, it's like Brian, you need to decide and do acting.
Yeah. Pretty much. And it's like, it's not even just like opportunity based, like, oh, this opportunity came in front of me, so I need to take it. Because sometimes that would happen, and you're like, my voice, let's just call it voice. We're not hearing things, people. This voice tells you should not do that.
Okay.
Right? So it's not opportunity based. It's more like, it makes sense. It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling that there's a threat
It's your
that your
intuition.
life is supposed to follow.
Yeah.
It's like fate. At least that's what it feels like to me.
Okay.
And so I've always, even when I'm like going through like so much shit in my life, I still feel like this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm just gonna go through it.
That's a good. I wouldn't say feeling. That's a good
Like philosophy.
philosophy to have.
Yeah.
Because like you're just
It's not
sitting-
even on purpose.
Yeah. But being in a good mood in a shitty situation is a superpower. It's like
I had that.
you know, like, oh, this sucks, but I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be right now. You know?
Have you ever read the book Untethered Soul?
No.
Oof.
What's it about?
Read that book, man.
What's it about?
So it's basically it's about a lot of things, but it's basically about how to deal with your feelings.
Okay.
And how to tap into like past trauma and kind of release it. And like whenever you're going through something, instead of like blocking it down and be like, whenever you're going through shit, feel it. Feel like shit. Let it rip you, like let it destroy you.
Okay.
And observe from your consciousness. And it's basically, the book basically says, everything you think you are right now, you're not. The only thing you are is your awareness.
Okay.
The only thing that makes you you is the fact that you're aware of everything that happens around you.
Okay.
So problems are not problems anymore. Not even death. You can literally relax into that. Like this book can potentially get rid of your fear of death.
I was afraid of dying for a long period of time. I took mushrooms and it cured it.
Fuck yeah. Let's go. I've never done mushrooms, but I
haven't?
heard wonders about the what is it?
Psychedelics? I don't know.
Yeah, psychedelics and just the power that they have to
Yeah, they changed my life.
to change your neural pathways.
You know, pathways for it. I mean, I don't know exactly everything, but I know I was afraid of dying before I took them, and now I'm not.
That's amazing.
You know, and back to your trauma point, I've been thinking about this topic a lot, about achieving things, and a lot of people use trauma as an excuse to not achieve the thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at business, just because I'm in the business world right now in terms of like growing my personal training business as well as the podcast and everything. And
Insert ad.
And I've been listening to a lot of entrepreneurs talk about their stuff.
Who's your favorite?
Right now is this guy named probably Alex Hormozy.
Oh yeah.
You know, and he talks about trauma as well. And he's like, there's all different types of successful people, and some of them don't have a morning routine. Some do. Some have fucked up childhoods.
Some got trust funds.
Let me put a pin on the morning routine thing because I want to say something controversial, but keep going.
Yeah. Some have morning routines, some don't. Some have trust funds, some are broke.
Yep.
Right. And some have traumas and some don't. The thing is, the only common factor that all these business people have is they did the action no matter how they felt. No matter what traumas they had, no matter what resources they had, they did the actions needed to achieve the thing they wanted to achieve. Yeah.
Because like, what's the point of complaining and be like, oh, I can't do this because of X and Y?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not going to help you.
It's not going to help you at all.
It's like, oh, well, you can do it because you had advantages over me. Yes. So what's going to get you to get there?
But you have a cooler story if you do them.
Right?
Yeah.
If you have a struggle story, if you like, who has more of a cool story? Whoever was born into money and made more money, or whoever was absolutely broke, living like was homeless for a long time and then had an idea and like
Made money. Yeah.
That's, to me, that's a much
way
better
cooler story.
Yeah.
But I guess I bring those things up because of your trauma point. It's like, why do you need to release them? Why do you need not to have them? Because you could do the things with them.
Sure. I mean, I think the book kind of hones into the whole being at peace with yourself.
Okay.
Obviously, if you can be at peace, that's just like a more wholesome state of being, right? It's better for you. You're not gonna have as much stress. You're not gonna have fear. You're not gonna. Life is not gonna be a negative experience, because some people say life sucks. You know, if you actually incorporate the knowledge of this book, life doesn't suck anymore. You just have events that happen to you, and that's it.
I feel like you have to define what a sucking life is.
Okay, so let's say you get laid off, like you get fired,
Yeah.
right?
So, okay, let's add to that. Let's say you got laid off, your girlfriend dumped you, you have a health disease.
Yeah, and somebody dies.
Someone dies.
Yeah, like
Okay,
all of it.
All of it.
All of it. Like the worst in one day.
Yeah, like that sucks. How do you make that not suck?
Well, that's crazy. So
Because that sounds like that's like the worst thing ever,
right.
bro.
And so basically what you do is you just are aware of those feelings, because blocking your emotions is not good, obviously. That's just going to create more trauma. But you just let it destroy you. And if you have to cry, you cry. You just like let it happen, but you observe that. Instead of just being like, oh my God, my life sucks, I want to like whatever, getting drunk. No. Be by yourself. Sit in those feelings. Let them soak in those feelings and let them run through you. Because if you block them, they will stay with you. That's what this book says. If you block your emotions, if you like push them down, it's like, no, I'm good. I'm actually good. I have no problems. They will stay with you and they will be triggered. That's why you get triggered if you have past trauma, because it's still there.
Yeah.
And so on the other hand, if you just let it go through you, let it like destroy you until it doesn't have any power, it's not going to come back.
Yeah.
It will be released fully. And so that's kind of what the book.
So it's kind of like processing through each of those tragedies in your life and be accepting them and then moving on quickly, or moving on to the next thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Not even. It's more like not even letting it affect you in the first place.
Yeah.
Because like that would be something that you would do with a psychologist, with a therapist, right? You talk through it, right? Because it's already there. With this, just let it run through, let it cry, let it flow through you, kind of thing. It's more like it's kind of like esoteric French science kind of thing. But if you read the book, I'm sure that if you read that book,
We'll
at
link it,
least
guys.
you're gonna
We'll link it.
Untethered Soul. I'm sure at least you're gonna get one takeaway from it that will help you for your life. Like it changed my life.
I always like when people talk about the books that affect them, because there's always like one good lesson that some book will teach you, and you'll always reference back at it because you needed it the most. You know, it's like that's why I think reading's important. It's like those lessons. Because there's some books that have changed my life, and I needed to read them at those times.
Yes.
But if you look at them right now and you reread it, you're like, oh, I know all this. Like, I don't need it.
I don't need it anymore. It was just at that point.
You needed it at that time.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened with this book. I went through a really bad year last year. It was like the worst. Like just like what we're saying just now, breakup, work stuff, like everything happened to me within a month, and I really needed that book.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you, bro, because every time we've hung out, like, you always have a positive attitude, which is very inspiring because I know from an objective standpoint the things that you went through. Like, it's hard to stay positive when shit's hitting the fan.
It really is. And it's not like a fake mask that I put on and I'm like, oh, I'm going to smile through my problems, even though I'm like the duck. Like, no, I truly stay positive. I think sulking in your misfortune doesn't help.
How do you stay positive in the darkest times?
Honestly, what I was saying just now from the book, just like kind of take a day. Like, let's say all of this shit happens, take a day off and like, let it suck. Don't drink or do anything else. These are really strong, by the way. I'm like tipsy already.
Brian put down this tequila Negroni quick, guys.
But it's like, yeah, just let it suck. Let it really, really, really suck, and don't reach out for distractions.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People really want to block things and get that quick gratification. Put on a movie that they love. Get drunk. Get high. Do other drugs.
Yeah, it's like numb the feeling.
Numb the feeling. No, don't do that.
Yes.
That's the last thing you should do, because that's going to keep that trauma there.
Yeah.
That's going to create the trauma. Let it fucking suck. And I know it sucks, but that's the best thing you can do. Let it just destroy you, because guess what? You'll survive.
Yeah. You'll
It's
make
not
it
gonna
through.
destroy you.
The biggest way to get past the monster is to face the monster.
Exactly.
You know?
Face it and be like, surrender to it.
Yeah.
And that you'll see that monster has no power. Once you surrender, the monster is tiny. It's actually casting a shadow. It's like a tiny rat casting a shadow on a cave or something.
So, Argentina, then you went to Norway. and you went to- I guess my point is, like, after all of that, like, what was the deciding factor to get to China?
Okay, so I was living in Australia, and I was living in Chinatown.
Okay.
Because that was the cheapest place to rent a place. I was paying $160
USD?
Australian dollars a week, I think.
Okay, so that's like
At that point.
let's say 150. It's around $700.
And that was like 2013 or something.
So $700 a month for what?
Now thinking about that, that's a lot of money. It was a 2-bedroom apartment with one bathroom. No, wait. Shared between 9 people.
Oh, that is a lot of money.
4 people each room, 2 bunk beds. You could literally touch the other person's hand if you wanted to. I don't think no one ever did. And there was another guy living in the balcony, all sharing one bathroom.
You said $130 a week?
160.
Yeah, that's close to $700.
Yeah.
I mean, $650.
But that was the cheapest thing I could find, so I was doing that.
That is pretty expensive, though.
I know. Now thinking back, I'm like, what the
You
actual...
said cheap, and I was like, that is cheap, but for how many people?
But that was the cheapest thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, was it in a dope location?
I mean, it was Chinatown. It was right in the middle of Sydney.
Okay.
But that was literally the cheapest thing I could find, and it was very close to my acting school. And all my flatmates were, I had, like, Chinese... Korean, Japanese, like from every country out there, and they were like initiating me into like the food, Asian food.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, holy shit! And we have this.
What was your first Asian food?
I think dumplings.
Okay.
Dumplings was. I think I had a bowl of pork and chives dumplings, which is like the standard.
Yeah.
And I was like,
this shit's fire.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
My brain went.
And this is like 20 years old, right?
I was, 2021. Yeah, 21. And that was like, yo. And then I started trying every single flavor they had, other dishes. Yeah, no, I went crazy. Yeah. And then at some point somebody said, dude, if you like it here, the food in China is so much better. And there's more options. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to go.
So it's literally because of love of food.
Yeah.
Did you start the food blog when you were in Sydney?
No. I got to China and I was like, this is fire. There is so much more food than I thought.
What do you love about trying foods?
I think flavor, like I think it's such an easy, and again, this is going back to that short-term gratification, but food has such a powerful effect on the brain.
I agree.
Tasty food can give you so much pleasure.
So much.
so like it could be better than sex, depending on who you ask.
For sure.
I mean, good food is so much better than bad sex.
Okay. We're clipping that, guys.
Oh, is it family? Sorry. All right.
Not cutting it, clipping it.
Good.
I definitely agree, though. Like, there's some times where, mostly it's like when I'm high or drunk and I just like want like a fat burger. Mm-hmm. That burger's good. Or some Korean barbecue. Fried chicken's fire.
Korean barbecue.
Or like, I mean, there's the higher end palate too, right? Like,
like fine dining kind of
fine
thing.
dining, and then there's 2 bites of food on this plate, and just the flavors are just like engulfed in your mouth, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, like who came up with this?
Yeah.
And I like, because I like to cook too, and so I feel like as I'm tasting something, I can tap into the whoever cooked its brain.
Okay.
Does that sound weird? I feel like I can be like, what was the thought process behind it? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, who would have thought that deep frying a fig and mixing it up with like whatever sauce?
It's super creative.
Right. It's it's like an art.
Yeah.
Like cooking, cuisine is an art.
That you can eat.
Yes.
But it's not there for very long.
Exactly. It's so, but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Like a painting, sure, you can watch a paint, you can look at a painting and be like, oh, I see, and you can come up with your own thoughts, right?
Yeah.
You maybe to some people a painting means something, and then to other people means something else.
Sure.
Same with food, I think.
Yeah.
But at least I love that in entertaining my, kind of humoring my thought to be like, ooh, I feel like this person was thinking this, and that while they were making this dish.
Can you give me an example?
Like, for example, when you're eating something and you find that perfect balance between like salt, heat, acidity.
Give me like an example of a food.
Like an actual example. Okay, like for example, let's say you eat a dumpling. Let's go back to dumplings. Like, and so you have a pork chives dumpling.
Okay.
You have that like fatty pork.
Yeah.
You have the dough to kind of like make it more like fill. I mean, the dough is kind of like the dumplings. I feel like it's a very common thing in many cultures, like kind of like dough plus meat.
Yeah.
Because it's like cheaper. You're like filling it up a
Sure.
little bit more. But then you get that fatty pork. You get that dough that absorbs all the juices.
Yeah.
You get the chives that add a little bit of a crunch and that kind of like edgy kind of flavor. But then on top of that, because you can have a dumpling and be like, this is good. But then when you dip it in that vinegar, you add in that acidity to it. And then in that one bite, you have that combination of all of those different factors.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know, I feel like it's a formula. I don't know who came up with that. I mean, no one came up with that. It's just like something that happens, like
Someone
an
had to
accident.
come up with it.
No, but it's, I mean, you don't come up with it and you tell people, hey, this is what's fire.
Sure.
It's a reaction that happens in your brain when you have those things in your mouth.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like a little hack. It feels like somebody hacked life.
Hack the system.
Hacked the system.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, we were not supposed to have those
Yeah.
feelings in our brains, kind of thing. And it's just
A lot of
wonderful.
people didn't really get to, right? Like if you look at the hunter and gather days, right? It's just like meat and berries and vegetables. And now we have all this technology that has expanded.
That is true. That sucked.
Yeah. Well, it's similar to alcohol too, because I studied a lot of the mixology culture, and the invention of ice changed the game. Because like imagine like this drink without ice, right?
I never thought of that. Yeah.
And so what ice does is like it dilutes the alcohol, but also like it releases these. I forgot what the science is, but it basically allows the flavors to expand. Right?
Interesting.
And without ice, the cocktail culture would not have been evolved to where it is today, similar to pasta machines or all the invention of technology for food. And now we have all these flavors that wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, like molecular cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow, I never
sous
thought of that.
vide or fucking, you know, like, yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, I'd never thought about the ice thing. I love that. Yeah, and I'm thinking back at the hunter-gatherers, and it's like, wow.
It wasn't that long ago, bro.
It wasn't even that long ago that food sucked. Well, I mean, I wonder if it sucked for them because they had nothing to compare it to.
No, it didn't suck for them. It
To
didn't
get like an animal, to get like meat was like,
and it didn't suck for them. Like they had
they
salt.
didn't even have to, did they?
Yeah.
Like, when did we invent salt?
I don't know. I wish this.
I
is
mean,
the
we didn't invent salt, obviously.
Yeah.
There's like
rocks in the world that produce sodium.
But it's like, when did we realize that salt could be added not just to preserve meat, but also to like add flavor?
I need to figure out how to do the Googling on the podcast because that's the biggest thing that I want to do. Because like something like this, we'll look it up after. But I know salt for
You need a guy that can like edit. They can like look up
look
shit.
it up. Yeah, I need my Jamie guys.
Because like, where were we getting sodium before?
So salt was used for preservation of meats.
right, but when?
I don't know.
It probably happened within
A few hundred years ago for sure. Maybe thousands.
maybe thousands.
We're just guessing now, guys.
We're sounding real dumb right now. But then what before that? Like, where were we getting the sodium from?
I don't know.
Seafood? Like, could we fish? Like,
Oh, we definitely fishing's been around for a minute.
that's another question. Wow, that's so interesting.
We'll have to look it all up after.
Yeah. So I guess salt, we did have salt, but then like pepper. I mean, listen, chili, potatoes, tomatoes were from South America.
Yeah.
They only come into the international cuisine world after the discovery of America.
So that's not that long ago.
That's not that long ago.
So yeah, I know these tastes are
You
evolutionized.
had no spicy food
Yeah.
before then. Not even Asia. Like, Asia had the chili after the discovery of America.
What's the appeal of spice? Because I like it sometimes now, but like spicy food, like people love their spicy food.
I love spicy food.
Yeah. Why do you like it?
I don't know if you knew this, but my fans in China, they call me...
Xiabobo.
No, that's my Chinese name, but
Okay.
they call me 下铁菊.
I don't know that. How do you say it?
下
Xia
铁菊.
Tietzu.
Yeah, so that means 下 means it's my last name.
Okay.
铁菊 means iron, chrysanthemum flower.
Ooh, I love chrysanthemum tea.
No, but you're not gonna love what's coming up next. The reason they say that is because chrysanthemum flower is an analogy
Okay.
for your butthole.
How is that an analogy for your butthole?
Because I eat very spicy food, they call me the iron butthole. They
Oh,
call
wow.
me Brian the iron butthole.
So Zac Efron's called the Iron Claw and you're called the Iron Butthole.
Yes, full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle. And Peng calls me the Zac Efron of China.
I know.
So there you go.
That's the analogy. That's what I want to get to. All right. So circling back around to you tasting these dumplings that your Chinese friends
Yes.
taught you, and you wanted to go to China right after that because they said the food in China was amazing.
Yeah.
And so you just took a plane ticket or what?
Yeah.
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 So you ditched acting school?
No, I finished acting school and then
Okay.
I was like, I was in Australia. The acting industry there is not super fully developed. And
Yeah,
it's
I don't know many Australian movies.
Home and Away.
I don't know what that is.
Home and Away is one of the. It's an ongoing. It has like a bunch of seasons. It's like a show, like a soap opera kind of thing. Chris Hemsworth started there.
Oh yeah, Margot Robbie.
Maybe she did.
No, yeah, she's Australian.
Oh yeah, but did she start in
I
Home and
don't
Away?
know.
I don't know. Margot Robbie, yeah, she's beautiful. And so like they don't have many, and whatever they have, it's like it's all very like Australian actors. It was hard as a foreigner to kind of tap into that industry, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take some time off, go and explore China. And so
For 7 years.
well, I thought it was only going to be for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yo, there's a lot of food here that people don't know about.
Yeah.
So I filmed the video, put it on YouTube. I was like, this is it. I love that. This is going to be it. I'm going to be a YouTuber from now on. And that video got like 200 views.
What age?
It's like 23.
And you wanted it was what type of YouTube video?
It was like a food video.
Like cooking,
No, eating.
eating.
You know how like the Food Ranger and Mark Wiens, they have like food channels.
I'm not very educated on the YouTube food scene.
There's a bunch of people that just go around the world eating, and I was like, I feel like I can do that better.
Okay.
And I did that video, put it online.
200 views.
Nobody watched it.
I feel like 200 though. If you imagine 200 people in a room, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, but I think 199 were my mom. From the views, like she just kept
Playing it.
support. No, I don't know. I mean, that's a joke, but and so I was like, oh shit, well that's not gonna work. And my girlfriend at the time, she was like, why don't you put like Chinese subtitles and try Chinese websites?
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And I did.
and popped off.
It went viral immediately.
Why do you think it did so differently?
I think it was just because...
You're a white guy speaking Chinese?
I wasn't speaking Chinese back then. I couldn't speak Chinese.
Okay.
I think there are so many people that go to... Because I was trying the weird shit. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's so many people...
What's weird?
Blood tofu.
Okay.
Brain.
Yeah.
You know.
So you've ate some shit.
I've eaten some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love weird food, man. Yeah. Chicken feed all the way. Let's go.
I've never even had chicken feet.
Actually, I talked to this Uber driver last night, and he was telling me that he's like, dude, I love chicken feet. We're talking about Chinese food, and I was like, and at some point I'm like, wait, how were you eating it? Because the way he was describing it, he was like, it was crunchy. I was like, why was it crunchy? What were you biting on the bone? And he's like, yeah. It's like, wait, what? No, you're not supposed to eat the bone. He was literally crushing the bone instead of just eating. You're supposed to like eat the meat around it and the skin.
How do you know that's what you're supposed to do? I feel like anyone could eat it the way they want to.
But there's bone. Like,
it's
how
cartilage,
do you eat?
though, no?
No. Bone. Like, how do you eat your chicken drumsticks? Do you eat the bone? No. Okay, that's the way you're supposed to eat it. And like the chicken feet, like Chinese people just put it in their mouth one finger at a time and just kind of like bite around it and spit out the phalanges.
Loves eating the...
No, and I was telling him, I was like, that's not how you're supposed to eat it. And he's like, wait, what? Yeah. Like, he didn't know. And he's like, oh, shit. And he was like, well, thank you. I was like, well, maybe, you're getting that calcium from the bones. I don't know. That was hilarious. That was really fun. I've never heard anybody do that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I did that video, put it on, and it went viral immediately. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, all right, I guess
What's viral? Like million?
No, at that point, viral was probably like 300,000 views.
Okay.
Again, for my standards back there, that was viral.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I need to learn Chinese and do them in Chinese. And so I started.
So you had incentive to learn Chinese because of that.
And I was like, because I didn't know if I was going to stay in China, but after that happened, I was like, oh, maybe this is a thing that I can do.
Yeah.
And I love it here. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So I started learning Chinese and do them in Chinese and like immediately.
Before we continue on this story, I've always been curious about multi-lingual people. How do you think? Because I think in English, right? It's the only language I know, right? And you know all these other languages.
For now.
And all these languages, and there's different, I don't know, ways of speaking it. And there's the different ways of thinking. Like, how do you think?
I think in sign language. No, I'm just, it depends. It really depends. I think I mostly think in English because I live here. It really depends.
Does it change though in China? Like, were you in China?
It depends on environment.
And were you in China? You were thinking in Chinese?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Because I also had a lot of Western friends that would speak English. And so it would depend on who I'm hanging out with.
It's like, so for example, now you're in this American environment.
Yeah.
And say some dude speaks to you in Chinese. Do you think in English and then like, okay, this is what I need to say in Chinese, and then the words that come out of your mouth are Chinese, but you processed it from English?
No.
Okay.
No, for speech, it's weird to explain because nobody taught me this, but for speech, at this point, I think my Chinese is fluent enough that I can just go off in Chinese instead of having to translate.
Yeah.
Like for example, if I were to speak Japanese right now, I would have to translate because I'm so new to Japanese.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Oh, nice.
I just got back from Japan like 2 years ago.
Oh,
or
shit.
a year ago. Yeah.
How is that?
It was a culture shock, bro. Yeah. The culture is insanely different.
Yeah.
I've talked on multiple podcasts already, but basically everything's clean over there, dude. There's no homeless people. Everyone's super respectful. The transportation is godly. Like everything's on time. Everything goes exactly where you want to go. You don't need like a car or anything like that. Yeah.
Did you have issues getting into the trains? You know how there's like people with like white gloves pushing people in?
I never experienced that.
When I was in Japan, we literally had to we saw people that would like getting backward. Like it would be full. The door's about to close. They wouldn't getting backwards, and with their butt, they would like grab onto the top of the train and push with their butt inside, and then the door would close like in front of them.
Okay. So
Like,
I definitely
there's techniques and stuff.
it was definitely crowded. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, these trains, like people fit them up, and personal space in Asia is not like a thing. Like in the U.S., you feel uncomfortable sitting next to anyone anywhere, right? If you're at like, I don't know, a Sweet Greens, and you're at the exact same, like a table down.
It's like, ooh, that's a lot.
You're like, there's 1,000 other tables, bro. Why are you sitting right next to me? Like, that's a thought that I have. And after like a week or two in Japan, everyone's just in your space. And you're like, oh, this is just how it is, you know?
And did you get used to that?
I got used to it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like different.
Yeah. No, but I had a great time in Japan. Japan's like really cool. The food is delicious.
So good. But it's also very greasy. Like, Japan has a lot of bad food.
It really does. Like okonomiyaki, they put a fuck ton of mayo on that. Like they do like the zigzag, and it's like, whoa.
One thing I did love was what was it called? Food marts?
Food marts.
It's all like the 7-Eleven places, but yeah, it's like there's like sushi grade fish in there that you could eat. You know? You're like, you would never get like sushi from a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Over there, you have like rice and fish.
It's safe.
Like, yeah, it's safe.
Yeah.
And like food marts over there, they have, because you're not allowed to bring meat from the U.S. into the States. I mean, into Japan.
Okay.
You're not allowed to bring fruit, I believe, and meats, because whatever they scientifically evolved in their food industry it's not very perishable, bro. So like we went to grocery stores and there was like fried chicken out and beef out, and it wasn't refrigerated.
Yeah, that's something, I feel like that's an Asian thing. They just leave meat out.
I don't think it's an Asian thing too. I think it's because, I mean, it's an Asia thing, but like it's because the produce over there and the way they've like raised these animals and stuff like that
Just last longer?
Is different to last longer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
From what I understand.
Because like how? Like, I mean, bacteria grows on meat. Like anywhere from 5 degrees to 65 degrees, there's bacteria growing. So like I don't.
Maybe that's what was just told to me. I've never looked it up.
Interesting. I mean, we got to Google that after this. That's so interesting. Wow. I do understand the fruit though, because like the seeds could like affect the local flora or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I have no clue. Yeah, the seeds for sure. Like if they
Right?
if
you're like eating watermelon from the States and you spit out the seeds in Japanese soil.
and it grows.
And it grows and it pollinates all the other watermelons, and because you know how like Japanese people are so specific about their fruits, and they're like
for sure.
perfect and they're like round and like
I
beautiful.
did see like strawberries for like $45-$50. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Because it's an island. It's a tiny island. There's not much space to grow things. So like Japanese strawberries are expensive.
$45 expensive though?
Well, because like I don't know exactly, but you know how like the whole bonsai
There was like a mango for $100.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Did you know that they have these eggs? I've always wanted to get one. I didn't know about them when I was in Japan. There's eggs. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. Did you know that chicken are omnivores?
Are omnivores? Yeah, I've seen them eat rats and shit.
Chicken eat whatever they come across.
They're gnarly,
Okay.
bro. They'll fuck you up.
They will fuck you up.
Yeah.
And so whatever they eat will affect the eggs, will affect the consistency, flavor, everything
I
about
feel like
the
that
egg.
makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they have these eggs in Japan that are like, I think $70 for one.
Okay.
And those chicken, it's like kind of like a Wagyu thing, Wagyu beef. Those chicken only eat sashimi and seaweed. They literally eat like gods.
Yeah.
Like tuna, raw tuna and salmon and seaweed and stuff. And those
Sounds
eggs
fire.
are like, yeah. And those eggs apparently are like like the shell, it's hard to break. There's like videos on YouTube. You guys can look it up. It's hard to break. And once you break it, apparently it's sweet. It tastes sweet for some reason.
Yeah.
I want to taste that so bad. I want to make some scrambled eggs with that.
I feel like I would just eat that raw.
Well, the person in the video is eating it raw. I would eat one raw. I would get two. And then the other one is like...
I don't know if I would want to scramble that. It's just so delicate.
Or poach it.
Or poach it. He's like, I'm cooking this some way.
Fry it in canola oil. No.
So back to the language thing, though. Like,
Great transition. Great transition. Dude, I am drunk already from this.
That's one drink. We'll give you some more water. We'll take a break in a sec. But for the language stuff though, how do you? So you're fluent enough in Chinese, but like in everything else, do you have to translate it at all, or is it just like a reaction time?
No, so I think Spanish, English, and Mandarin, I don't have to translate anything. Those three languages are pretty
Except for
straightforward.
Japanese.
Japanese and Italian. Italian, I haven't, because I didn't get to use it. I was very fluent until 2010 when I graduated from high school. And then after that, I didn't really use it because it's such a specific language to Italy.
I think I want to. It just sounds so sexy, bro. I want to learn it. Like when I think one of the first times. What's that one?
You should do ASMR in Italian.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, bello. Come stai? What's up?
I feel like that was not an Italian accent, but you spoke Italian there.
It wasn't an Italian accent. Let me do it again because I was bringing the voice down. Io mi chiamo Brian. Was that good enough?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. When I think about Italian, what's that one movie with what's the guy from Good Will Hunting?
Which one? Robin Williams?
No.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. So Matt Damon plays this. He pretends to be this rich guy in this movie, and he was in Italy. Do you know what movie I'm talking about? No. Okay. So basically, he gets in with this wealthy family, and they pay for all his shit. Does that make sense? Like he pretends to be someone who he's not.
It's kind of like an Anna Delvey kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And there's this one scene that him and an Italian guy are hitting on this like really pretty girls, and the guy says buongiorno, and like in the most like sexy way, bro, and his Italian fit, like silk fit. I was like, damn, Italian's so cool, bro.
They're
I gotta learn
suave.
this. Yeah,
Italians are
suave, bro.
Buongiorno.
There we go. That's what it was.
Buongiorno. Ooh, that sounded good.
That was that for sure.
What's up, ladies? I'm single. My name is Brian O'Shea. There's going to be a link to my socials down.
His OnlyFans is going to be LinkedIn, guys. You can see all of him.
Yet to be made. That's funny, dude. So we'll learn Italian.
Yeah, I feel like there has to, every skill that I decide to learn though, like there's so many things to decide to learn in the world. And I feel like everything that I decide to learn is directly impactful to the things that I currently want to do right now. It's
That's
like
smart.
there's a priority list. And right now learning languages is at like 10 to 12
I get it,
on
man.
there. Yeah.
I get it.
But it's super cool when we're out and I see you speaking Chinese. I'm like, this guy's got a superpower. It's wild.
Yeah, and
Because you could communicate with people that most white dudes cannot normally communicate with.
And you can tap into a whole different world. Like, honestly, I feel like, especially when it comes to Chinese, it's a whole different world. Like, even here in the States, even in LA, there's so many places and, like, things that you can do by speaking Chinese that you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. When did you move here?
A year and a half ago.
Okay. And was it to pursue acting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you decide to... Because you kind of built, from what I understand, so you went viral, right? You did these food blogs and you made money from social media, from these Japanese social medias, right? Chinese social medias. And there's like different forms of TikTok, different forms of YouTube, different forms of Twitter, right?
Right, because all of the Western social media is actually banned in China. So they have their own.
They have their own. And what was making money like from socials over there? Like, how do you get paid and stuff like that?
Through ads.
Ads.
They don't have the format that you have here with YouTube.
Okay.
You don't get just for views. You don't get money just for views. So when you have the traffic, brands come to you. Like, for example,
like Chinese brands.
Sure. But I mean, I've done ads for Google and like Buick.
Yeah.
So not necessarily. Just whoever.
When you were in
brand-
China, like,
when I was in China,
you did American ads as well.
in Chinese for Chinese people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I did
Like
Google.
Buick for China.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty much. And so let's say, what's your
Inspirit.
bitters
Yeah.
Inspirit would come to me because I have traffic,
Yeah.
because they know that every single one of my videos gets at least 1 million views. And you come to me and like, yo, we want to do an ad. We'll pay you this. It's like, what's your budget? I'm like, this is my price. And then it will pay me and I will make an ad and show
How
it
did
to
you
them.
come up with the price?
And it's a standard depending on the fans and
Okay.
fan base and
What's
traffic.
the standard for like an ad in China?
Oof. So I can tell you my personal experience, and this is
It's different for everybody.
I would say yes. I mean, depending on the fan base and the traffic, really. I don't know exactly what the standard is per fan base, but I can
Your experience.
My experience. So I was making so much money. So, for example, at some point at my peak, I had 6 million fans on TikTok, on Chinese TikTok, Douyin. Douyin, yeah. And I was making for a 1 minute ad, making $20,000.
That's crazy. Yeah. So like you making this money in China, like, and living comfortably, from what I understand, right? Like, that's enough money to do well in China.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know.
China's way cheaper than LA, right? Like in Shanghai, I was paying less than my apartment here in LA, and I had a much better apartment.
Yeah.
I had a really nice place in Shanghai.
Okay, so like, what's the motive to move to LA? You have this nice life, like you're making money doing stuff that you love in terms of like food and making content and being yourself and finding the niche of your like misfit life, right? Like, why the fuck move to LA?
Well, that's a question that a lot of people ask me, and I think it was the realization that was never the dream. You know, my dream was always to be an actor.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was very comfortable. And I actually, when I stepped back and moved here, I was at my peak. I was like doing great. It's not that I was like, oh, you know, I'm like expired or whatever, I'm going to stop. No, I was doing great. And I wasn't happy deep inside. I had like some soul searching moment. I was having a lot of anxiety. And I started having panic attacks. And so I did some soul searching. I was like meditating every day. And at some point I was like, this is not what I want to do. I've been doing it for 7 years. I'm burned out. I don't know what other content to do. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Or at least I need a break. And I was like, I'm 30 already. I've always wanted to go to LA and try to tap into Hollywood and be an actor. I mean, I was acting in China. I was doing a lot of like TV shows and stuff like that. And so that was actually pretty cool. And so that also kind of lit up this fire again. It's like, dude, I enjoy being on set so much more than doing content, but content is making me so much more money. But I was like, I just want to enjoy life. I want to do what makes me happy. If this is not making me happy anymore, the whole point I started doing this is because it was making me happy. It's not making me happy anymore. What does it matter if I'm making a bunch of money?
True.
Right? And so I came to that realization, and I was like, let's go.
And you just picked up and left?
Pretty much.
How? That takes a lot of courage to do that, especially with the comfortability part.
I've done that so many times in my life, man.
Yeah. So what's the game plan when you land in LA? Like, what do you do? How do you meet people? Because you don't know that many people. Like, obviously, social media probably helped with like connections in a few ways.
Right. And so that's funny because that's how I met Pang.
Yeah.
I literally...
Shouts out Pang Pang Lee.
Shout out to Pang.
Pang Sealy.
Pang Sealy. A lot of people think it's Clee. It's not. She should change that.
Oh, you heard it first, Pang. Brian's probably already told you. You probably told her before.
No,
you haven't. Oh, wow.
And so I came here, DM'd a bunch of people on TikTok. I was like, yo, I got fans in China. You got fans here?
Yeah.
Let's collab.
Let's do something.
Let's collab. She was the only one that replied.
How many people did you reach out to?
50.
Oh, that one out of 50 is pretty good.
Is it?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much you have to reach out to get a response back.
Conversion rate is very low. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially cold calling or cold emailing or cold DMing, right? Usually the rule of thumb from my experience and from what I've read, it's like 1 out of every 100. Like if you're looking
like
for
1%.
Yeah, 1%. Like, so say if you're trying to get a job and you try to apply to 100 places, there's a good chance that one person would accept you and let you work for them. Like if you don't have a lot of skill. Right? So like, for example, 50 people were like, who the fuck is this guy? What value will he bring to my life? I'm not going to respond to him. One person did. Shouts out Pang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, awesome.
Yeah.
Because I think it was very dodgy because I'm coming in saying I got 10 million fans in Chinese social media, but my Instagram has 60,000.
Why would you say that?
Well, I think I tried reaching out. I was like, yo, and nobody would reply. So then I was like, you know what? Let's just do the
stats.
Let's do the thing.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
you initially reached out with normal conversation.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I love your content. I'm in the States now. I do content in China. Let's do stuff together.
Yeah.
And nothing. And then when I started adding stats, people were like, "Oh, I'm not in town." Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Is content in China different than content in the U.S.?
In what way?
Like, is it just as big? Like,
Oh yeah,
really?
bigger.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
dude. Like, I think
Bigger.
yeah. There's something
I
like
feel like it's huge here.
no. It's so much bigger over there. I think historically speaking, China went from not having even a computer to having phones. So they skipped the whole desktop computer era that we had. And so people
They don't have desktops.
pretty much only for work, not personal computers. And so
Really?
right, and so you have even like old people in their phones watching TikTok on the subway. Everybody, whenever they are not working or hanging out with friends, they're on their phones consuming
Do
content.
they not have TikTok?
They have Douyin.
Isn't TikTok a Asian-based company though?
It's a Chinese company.
Chinese company, yeah. But they don't allow
So
TikTok.
they have two versions. There's Douyin and TikTok. And so
TikTok's the US-based version.
TikTok is the international.
Okay.
Douyin is just for China.
International, does that include China?
Yes, so it's international but China.
Okay, that's
And then Douyin is for China.
But it is China. Like China runs TikTok.
I think it's owned by an American
Company now?
company, but yeah, I'm not sure. I just know that they're separated.
Do you believe in the
And you can't find accounts from each other.
You can't.
No. So if you look me up on TikTok, I have like 5+ million fans on Douyin.
Yeah.
But I got it's a different account, and I only have like 16,000 on TikTok.
Do you believe in the whole
We're getting tinfoil hattie here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, let's go.
Because
Conspiracy theory.
yeah, there's definitely a conspiracy theory that was like these are the types of content that the US is based the China or Asia wants the US to like consume. And it's just people dancing. It's of, the whole TikTok trends and everything like that. And they don't really show valuable skills, right? So it's just pure entertainment, right?
I see.
It's consuming just entertainment stuff that's just like fills
To make people dumb.
kind of. And then the Chinese version is like, all TikToks of like aesthetics of like learning how to drill things into holes and like building shit and like and I was like, wow, like
I
are
actually
they
believe
purposely
the
trying
opposite.
the opposite? Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe that's true.
Okay.
I believe, and this is, I think, pretty straightforward. I think it's not like the reason they have a different one is just to control what goes down within China, to control the kind of content that Chinese people get to see, just because there's so many people.
So
that
do you
have
not
to,
think
like,
they're controlling the US stuff at all?
I don't think so. Again, that could be me.
I don't
I have
know.
I really don't think so.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories about it.
I think China is very much in their own world. Like they just want to be able to control their to have everything. They only care about China. It's very separated from the rest of the world. So I wouldn't see, from what I gather from those 7 years living there, I don't think China would really care.
Would you ever want to move back?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a great time there. I love China.
What do you like about LA?
The misfits thing that we were talking earlier. I just think that as a foreigner in China, I had a great time. I love that place. I just don't feel like I will ever fully belong. And that, I think that applies to most more traditional cultures.
Yeah.
I will always be seen as an outsider.
Yeah.
Whereas in LA, as soon as I came in here,
Everyone's like accepting you
Welcome.
with open arms. Yeah.
culturally speaking.
Culturally. Yeah. And everyone is weird out here, bro. Like
Exactly.
in their own way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't really feel ashamed for anything. You just be you.
Exactly.
you'll
that's
find
what
your thing.
That's what I always say. Like, LA is like a place where you can be whatever you want. If you wake up tomorrow and you want to be a cat, people will be like,
There's,
yo, I
there's
have
a
a
community of cats out here.
sure. And people will be like, yo, I have a litter. Someone's gonna be like, yo, I have a cat costume. Someone's gonna be like, I have a cosmetic surgeon that can make you look more like a cat.
Yeah.
Like everybody's gonna try to help you achieve your dreams. So LA is basically a melting pot of people at their full potential.
Yeah.
And that comes with negative things too. Like if you want to be an asshole, you can be a great asshole here, and like that sounded weird. But you can just be like a really evil person if you want. Like there's opposites, right? But you can just be at your full potential here.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. Was it hard? Was the transition hard?
No.
No. I mean, the DM part, you got one person hit back to you though. Like, how do
But
you?
that was just a part of like when I came here, there were other creators, Chinese creators that live here that I knew. And so I was invited by Chinese associations. Like yesterday, I was just at UCI for an event. I gave a speech
Oh,
in
nice.
UCI for Chinese New Year.
Sick.
Yeah. And so it's like, Chinese people, even when they're not in China, they kind of, at least back a year ago, they knew who I was,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, I never felt like I had an issue making friends and like knowing people and
Do you
blending in.
have? Are you scared of ever becoming irrelevant?
Not anymore,
Why?
because I never liked being relevant.
It was just a result of something that you did.
That was like my least favorite part of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Being, I don't want to say the word famous, but being well known.
Well known in that social media space, in that niche of like whatever.
Yeah, like honestly, it would be like I would have to be so careful all the time. Like I would go
About
out and
things that you say or things that you do.
things that I say, being like drunk in public or things like that. Not that I like to drink or anything, but it's like I would have to think of that.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to a bar, it's like like a girl would come and talk to me. It's like I don't want somebody to take a picture and make a story. So I'll be like, oh hi, what's up? Like and just keep to myself, not
And
be like.
yeah, I guess this knownness, is it all around food?
I mean, I was in so many TV shows
Yeah.
and like talk shows and stuff. It
Yeah.
wasn't even, I was doing food content, but like people would recognize me all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe they weren't my followers, but they knew of me. And so.
Was it quick? Was it a quick experience? Like, for example, what was the time frame from like you would go out in public and no one would recognize you in China to like you'd go out and you would get recognized often?
So I think the tipping point was I was in this show called Informal Talks.
Okay.
Which is a bunch of foreigners from different countries talking topics in Chinese. When I went out on that show,
It's a good concept.
Yeah, it's pretty cool with Chinese hosts. And so as soon as I was on that show, people started recognizing me because we would hang out all together, all the people, like we became really good friends. And whenever they would see one, it's like, oh, that one has to be the other one from the show. And so like people started taking pictures, and it was crazy, man. Like overnight. As soon as I was on that show, it was overnight.
What was that feeling like? Because I'll give you an example. So Matthew McConaughey. Do you know his story at all? So he was
All right.
Yeah, so he was on that
That's all I know.
that movie Dazed and Confused, where he's like, all right, right? And
That was a much better impersonation of Matthew.
and after the movie release, like he talked about how he went on the Santa Monica Pier, and he'd go often, like he'd go once a week or something like that. And just a few days before like the release, he went out on the Santa Monica Pier, came back, and no one really recognized him. It's like just another day. And then the day after the movie release, he did his daily walk, went on Santa Monica Pier, and he's just like, everyone's asking for his autograph or like taking a picture within a few days. And
it ruined the Santa Monica Pier for him.
Oh, for sure. He definitely will ruin it. But there's this quote that I heard recently. It's like, people don't change when they become famous. It's just people treat them differently.
I heard that in a podcast. Who said it?
I'm trying to remember.
I heard it recently in a
But
podcast.
it was from, what's that European singer? It was his documentary. I forgot his name. What's the bigger white guy who plays the guitar? He's like the Ed Sheeran of, Ed Sheeran lives in Europe, so. I don't know. Dang it.
It's okay. I think there's two factors when you get famous. Let's just use that word. People treat you different, but also you let yourself become whoever you were. Because like when you're not famous, sometimes you have to be nice, even if you're not nice, right? To get things. But when you're famous, if you wear an asshole all the time from the start, you're like, oh, finally I can be an asshole kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's true.
No?
I feel like there's a lot of people who just have the characteristics of being a nice person, and therefore they're always a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, sure.
Even if they become famous and people treat them differently, they're going to be a nice person.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's also people who are an asshole and they get famous and then they just still are an asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that there's people who maybe were hiding their assholeness because they needed stuff from other people.
Sure.
And so, you know, when people say like, oh, you became famous and you became an asshole, you forgot about... No. That person was an asshole from the start.
Yeah.
They just allowed themselves to fully be that asshole.
Because they got to the status they wanted to.
Yeah, because it's like now they don't need to be nice because being nice is not going to get them anywhere. They're there already.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, but also, like, you're already there. Like you just said, you have to be careful of what you say and stuff. Like,
But that's me.
Yeah. Oh, some people don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some people don't care, and then they get canceled.
Yeah. Cancel culture is wild, dude.
Yep.
I feel like everything is being listened to now.
And filmed and
Filmed. Like, anytime you go out, phones are out. Concerts, phones are out. Like, every time I'm, like, talking and then my phone's like, oh, what did you say? And it's like a Siri thing. And then anytime I'm talking, like we're having this conversation right now, and then I'm gonna have fucking a ad for dumplings. You know, like that shit happens.
Yeah. But also, like, back to what you were saying, like everything's being listened to and everything's being filmed. What do you think of like AI doing deep fake and shit? Because like, do you think videos are going to be a valid form of evidence from now on that AI can replicate everything? Like if I have a video, AI made video of you committing a crime, but it's fake.
Yeah.
Like once it's
definitely going to be a problem.
Right?
For sure. It's definitely going to be a problem. But there has to be some
way to track it down. Some like AI that can find.
Well, that's the thing of like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Like they have a tangible, not tangible. They have like a code. So you know if the code is like a real code, meaning that the video is real, right? It's verified. Do you know anything about that?
No, but I'm thinking
Does that make sense?
If that's something that it makes sense. But what if AI could overwrite that? I don't know how it works, so I don't know what's the mechanics and what's the physics.
I don't know if it could though. Like so, for example, yeah, which is good. But that's also the thing with like verified accounts, right? So like there's some accounts out there already that are AI. Like they are OnlyFans girls, but it's all AI, fake porn, fake.
Yeah, wasn't there like Taylor Swift porn out there?
Oh, there is that. Yeah,
I heard about it.
Yeah, and she's suing them and everything like that.
She should.
She has the right to.
Yeah,
you know, because it's kind of fucked up.
That's fucked up.
That is completely fucked up.
That is so fucked up.
And it's like I didn't see it, but like if it's really good, like that's even more fucked up.
I mean, the AI stuff is like indistinguishable from real life right now.
Yeah. Well, everyone thought that AI was going to take a long time to get here, and that it would take a long time to get the replace creative jobs, but it ended up being the creative jobs first.
Right. People thought that was the only one job that AI wasn't going to take. I was like, I'm an actor. I'm good. AI is not going to take shit. Oh, and I'm like,
it was the first thing that they took.
Yeah.
It started with, remember those art pieces?
Oops. No.
So did you ever do the thing where you sent in 6 photos and they produced like all these? Oh, you did the one with the school people, right?
I did. No, and I did the one back in like a year ago.
Yeah,
or something.
the one a year ago.
Yeah,
and like that AI took art from all these artists that are already online, right? And they made like versions of you, but with other people's shit. Right?
And we're probably giving AI a lot of information doing that. It's like we think we're playing around. No, we're making it bigger.
You know, and then after that happened, a lot of artists were kind of mad. They're like, "Oh, that was from my piece. That was a style that I had." But you can't really tell. Like sure,
it's like with music. If you have like a little bit of a song, you're like, "Oh, you got that from my song," but you can't sue because like the copyright, it's not similar.
It's not that similar. And then when it came to the writers and actors and stuff, I was like, "Oh, this shit hit quick," you know?
Oh yeah, but it's like, and the other argument is like, isn't that what humans do?
What do you mean?
with music and like paintings and stuff. Like humans just like consume a bunch of art and then they come up with new stuff, but it's like subconsciously you're using stuff you've seen before.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's a good argument though. But then there will be no paid stuff for regular humans.
Right, no, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Don't get me wrong. I think AI should only take the boring, routine, horrible jobs that people don't want to take.
Yeah, like for example, I use AI to cut from clip to clip in the podcast. So for example, you're talking right now, or I'm talking right now, the camera's going to clip to me.
Ooh.
You're talking, it goes to you. We're
great.
acting around right now, it's going to clip to the front. And I used to do that manually, and it used to take me 4 to 5 hours. And now it's taking me 10 minutes. You know, I'm just like, okay, that's a valid job that AI should take away from me.
Right.
I'm willing to pay the $30 a month for you to switch from clip to clip.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and again, I'm gonna say something like that might be a little controversial.
Okay, say it.
I don't know if I should say this.
He's prefacing it really hard right now, guys.
But a lot of people complain that AI is gonna take jobs. And yes, it will.
Okay.
But I think that might eventually be a good thing.
Well, I feel like evolution of jobs have been around for a long time now. Like, for example, a milkman, newspaper boy, right?
I'm sure we had somebody that made fire back in the day before we had a match or like a lighter.
Yeah. Let's use newspaper, right? We don't use those anymore. Everything's online, right? The printing press is not as relevant as it was back then.
Right.
And now everything's digital.
So that's
that
my
job
argument.
is gone.
It's just I think that right now it's going to be so exponentially fast that people are going to be like, whoa, what are we going to do?
Yeah,
because
like
once you take one at a time, you're like, all right, I can move on to this other
Yeah.
industry or this
Like
or that.
McDonald's, right? There's the first McDonald's in the U.S. that opened up without any physical employees.
Ooh, that happened already?
Yeah.
Shit.
Like, I mean, I don't know how it is. I've
Skynet.
never been there, right? But like,
Terminator.
that's kind of scary. You're having machines making your burgers.
I don't want that. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. And that's the other thing. Like, some people will, some people don't care. I think eventually we'll go back to podcasts,
Yeah.
dude. We have videos, we have YouTube videos, you have like condensed information, but people go back to podcasts and listen for hours because we want that human, that realness.
That real connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with like servers and stuff. A lot of people want to take away like the hospitality industry because like you could order just on a communication, but the people who love fine dining, they
want the
love
experience.
They love the experience of the communication with another human being, and they provide you with a great experience of like this other human figured out exactly what you want. They place your mise en place and the forks and everything properly within the right timing when you needed it. That's what you're paying for.
And like that, the waiter remembers
show.
you and things like
They know
that.
your name,
You know
yeah.
your name, or a cafe.
Yeah.
And you just like have that relationship. I think human interaction is so important that I think yeah, we're gonna go. The pendulum's gonna go AI for a little bit, but then we're gonna go like, no, that's not doing it for us anymore. And so, it's gonna go back the other way.
There is that, but also there's the chat GPT part, right? Like the not human interaction part, like the amount of times that I've talked to big creative directors or business people, and they're like, yeah, I just don't write my emails anymore. Like I put prompts into chat GPT and they provide this email and it's better than what I would say. I'm just like, fuck, like that's crazy. Like that's like you can't even write your own emails anymore. Like you're not even brainstorming. You're just putting in. It's just your input into this system. But like I thought it was gonna start with like we don't handwrite letters anymore, right? I haven't written one in a long time.
We have email.
We have email, but like I thought I practiced cursive for so long, thinking that I was gonna use it, and now cursive's not even taught in schools.
Nah, mate. Absolutely not. Cursive, I've always sucked at it, and I knew from when I was like 5, I was like, this shit's not, it's gonna be obsolete.
Yeah.
I didn't, but that's what I tell myself.
But the one thing I do love about that is like it makes people different. So when I write someone once in a while and I write like a nice handwritten note in cursive,
I love that.
they'll be like, yo, what? You spent the time to do this?
Yeah.
And they'll get back to you.
Because that's so much value there.
Yeah.
There's so much emotional value, and I love that. And again,
That's back to your human connection, though.
Right, and I think that making ChatGPT write your emails only works for like business and work related stuff. If you're doing that for your friends and family, you suck and you should stop. No,
Period.
but
He
period.
means it.
Facts. No, but like think about it, because that's just the step number one. What's stopping us from having like a little thing in our ear and having like telling us what to say in a date?
That's
fucked.
That's Elon Musk's
Neuralink.
Neuralink.
Well, I don't want one. That's what I know. Fuck that.
I mean, I don't know too much about it. Do you know anything about it?
No, I haven't. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be like medical in the beginning,
maybe.
But like again,
But
I
like
don't
for
want that.
example, there's the new Meta glasses, the Ray-Ban glasses that just came out.
I heard it's like not much that
I didn't hear it was. I don't know, or the Apple goggles.
the Vision, Apple Vision Pro.
So like you could watch. So
That looks dumb as fuck.
I saw a really cool like clip of it yesterday where like you put on the goggles, and for sports people, you could just throw up like your favorite game and then play 2 more games and then another game. So people who are like gambling and stuff.
Can you multitask like that? Like I feel like I would get so distracted.
Oh, I definitely can. Like I'd go into my buddy's house when I was a big sports gambler, and he'd like have like 6 TVs up. And I'm just like, whoa, this is wild. And you just put on these goggles, you have those 6 TVs now, and you could just be stuck there at your home all day long. Or like my buddy who plays video games and not really good at social interactions. He's met a lot of online friends, and he pretends to be this big like jacked dude, like with like an alien head on and stuff like that. And he's going into a fake bar in this video game, and like he's having a drink with like at home with these goggles on.
Dystopian, dude.
It's crazy though, but it's real. It's here. That's just real right now.
Do you think it's gonna take off? Do you think?
I mean, I think a lot of people are already on it. They're just not happy with their real lives, and therefore they're going to live in this augmented reality.
But that's been the case with video games always, right?
Yeah, but it hasn't been this interactive though.
I mean, I used to play video games because I hated my life, and then when I started enjoying my life, I stopped playing video games.
That's fair.
Like, and I think.
I still like Mario Kart though, even though I enjoy my life.
Yeah, I don't consider. So there's a different kind of gaming. I'm talking about like JRPGs, playing like 15 hours a day.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, like Japanese RPGs, role-playing games.
No. Oh, okay, that makes
like
sense.
You're like a guy and you like kill monsters to get experience and like whatever.
You level up. You get
you level up exactly.
You get a bigger sword.
Exactly.
Okay.
I honestly don't think it's gonna fly. I think it's gonna fly for a bit. My issue is with kids growing up with that shit.
Yeah, dude, it's scary. I went home and my cousins are glued to their iPads. Like they're staring at them the whole time. With dinner, they're not talking to our family, and I'm just like, yo, what is this? Like they don't go outside, they don't play sports,
and we don't have enough data on that. We don't have enough data to know
only been around for a decade.
The psychological harm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you have access to this internet. Like, for example, we'll just use porn, right? like you could Google anything. Like, if you don't have it, like, if these kids, their parents don't decide not to like put a child lock or anything, you look anything up back like before our age, right? These people were getting porn through Playboy magazines, and that's it.
Right. It was just like a picture of a girl
with just
maybe
tits.
You could see tits.
Maybe.
If you were lucky.
Maybe one.
Because that page would be stuck. No. Right. And then internet porn came.
Yeah. And the internet porn came. And then now OnlyFans. And now there's also like all this fake shit.
And feet stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you know, wait, let me ask you a question. Do you know anybody who's into feet?
I mean, I have a friend who does OnlyFans.
Who does it? But are they into? I know nobody
Who's into feet?
who's into feet, which makes me think that I definitely know somebody who's into feet and they're just hiding it from me. How many people? What's the percentage of
you
people?
not into feet?
No.
Like, I like a good foot.
Really? Would you like, is it like a fetish thing, like a sexual thing?
No, it's definitely
like a good foot.
it's definitely like a turn on though.
It's a turn on?
Yeah, bad feet
I-
are definitely a turn off.
Sure. But like, what are we talking about? Bad feet? Like dirty?
No.
Fuck that. Yeah, that's
No,
disgusting.
I mean, sure, but like
ugly feet?
calloused feet, like basically like
Honestly, I don't even pay attention to feet.
you don't pay attention to feet like that, really?
Like, no.
Feet and teeth, bro.
Teeth for sure, because you're kissing. You know?
Okay,
That's important. That's like, I don't touch the feet. Like, feet are over there. You know? Like, I don't get the sex appeal.
You never played like
How is
footsie?
that sexual? What's that?
I don't know. You just play with each other's feet with their toes. You never done footsie?
No.
Really?
Is that a cultural
lying,
thing?
You're lying down and you're cuddling and you just play with each, with toes and stuff.
No. Maybe, okay, I have my first friend who's into feet.
I mean, it's not that I'm into feet. I'm just not into
I want to see
bad feet.
your Google history.
I'm just not into bad feet. Like,
Sure, no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
like
Bad
no one
feet
wants
suck.
dirty feet, smelly feet. Like, therefore
But that
you
applies
like
to the
feet.
whole body.
Therefore
Ugly
you like
hands.
feet, though.
But it's
If
not
you
a sexual
don't-
thing.
It is sexual because if it was extremely bad, you would not like it.
But then that applies to the whole body.
Yes,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, but people have like a fixation with feet.
I know.
People who go on. I heard there's this website called Feet Finder, and people go and look at people's. And I don't even know what they do with those pictures. I want to like.
I was at this party one time, and I was with my best friend, my best chick friend at the time. So we weren't together. She was just a friend my best friend in college. And this guy came up to her, and he was like, "I'd love to suck your toes." And I was just like, she was like, "Should I let him do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, like for sure." I've never seen this happen. So she
For money or just for?
no, just because like he wanted to. Like she's a pretty girl, and she takes off her foot. He lies down. He
and like he didn't know if she had
just, like,
cleaned her feet recently.
he's just sucking on each toe, bro. And and then he'll put the full foot up to like the heel into his mouth, and I'm over here dying. Like I am laughing so hard, I'm crying, and her foot's ticklish. Like
It's like kicks him in the nose or something.
no, she's just like she's just like
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
that is so interesting.
So I've definitely met some feet people out there. Like that's an experience for sure.
interesting.
Yeah, they're out there, bro.
Well, right. So I'm thinking I probably know people who are just hiding that, and it's like their little secret.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of people that like certain things that they just don't talk about.
Yeah,
For
sure.
There's a lot of things out there that you don't want to admit you like.
Yeah. Weird fish.
Like, what's something that you like that a lot of people don't like?
chicken
Like,
feet?
Chicken feet.
Eating
Yeah.
chicken feet.
Yeah.
What's some? Let me think. I mean, I don't. JRPGs like video. No.
Can't think of
Martial arts, I guess. Like there's not many people who
it.
are.
Oh yeah. What do you like about martial arts, bro?
It just feels so cool. Like I feel like I'm one of those characters in video games that I used to play.
Yeah. What does it do for you though? Besides that.
So it requires a lot of dexterity. It requires a lot of coordination. So it's kind of like once you do a
Yeah,
drill.
the sword stuff that you're doing is really impressive.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I've been kind of busy and I haven't been doing it a lot, but
Is that just so you could have that skill to be able to play like an action figure or something like that
Yeah,
in the future?
100%.
Be the next Last Samurai or something like that.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Like whatever. Honestly, even if it never accounts to anything, even if it's never required for me in a role, I still like doing that so much because I just feel like a badass. I feel like a warrior. I feel like a samurai. I feel like and I'm just like, even my teacher always my coach is always making fun of me because like whenever I do the last slash, I look away and do like a really cool like kind of like sword sheathing thing, and he's like, dude, never look away. What if
Orion,
you didn't
right?
kill? Yeah, Orion.
Yeah.
What if you didn't kill that person?
Yeah.
You gotta stay. It's like it just feels so much cooler if I look away.
Yeah.
And he just makes fun of me.
I mean,
for
it's
that.
the video game though, right? Like a lot of those action figures in the video game, they kill someone, they just walk away. They don't look back.
Exactly.
You're like, I want to be that video game character.
Cool guys look away because they're so confident that last slash killed that enemy.
Oh, John Wick for sure. He's never looking back.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing too. Like, you watch movies, like for example, John Wick, and you don't realize how much choreography, how much skill it takes to do all those moves. You're like, whoa, that was a cool action scene. Like I'm high as fuck right now watching this, or I'm working out listening to this motivational thing from John Wick, and then like if you really break down the scenes, you're like, whoa, this is insane.
So much work.
And this
goes behind
dude
it.
like went to I forgot Terran Tactical and will like learn how to load and shoot for hours, and just to do these scenes.
Right, and that is kind of the difference between a master and somebody who just starts. They've done the basics so many times that it's just like a second, third nature to them. And it's like the other cool thing about action scenes is that not only you have the choreography, but you've done it so many times that you know exactly what's coming up next. So you got to add an extra last layer which is you didn't know that was going to happen, acting part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're in a fight, you don't know that person's going to attack from this side, but you know. So you got to make it look like you didn't know.
Yeah.
And you're just reacting in the last second. You look at the hand, and then you put up your hand to block it instead of just going for it because you know it's coming.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. There's so much preparation that comes.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Because you know it's coming, but you got to act like you don't know it's
Exactly.
coming.
Because if you know it's coming and you just put your hand out, it's like, well,
Have you ever done an action scene?
no.
No.
I mean, I've done stunt classes and stuff like that, but never an actual action scene.
Because I was looking at your reels and stuff, and like all the TV shows that you've been in, like I feel like the most dramatic one was the video game one. Where you're playing video games.
I was an asshole in that one. And people hated me. I got so many hate comments online. They were like, because like that guy, the guy that was my enemy,
in the
good
what's
guy?
it called? What was the show?
Gank Your Heart.
Gank Your Heart.
The main guy is super popular, Wang Yibo. He's like huge in China, especially at that time. And so people were like, "Oh no!" Like people like.
Is there money in like regular acting in China?
There is money. It was just never as good as content creation.
Yeah, so it's not like money like actors in LA, like the A-list actors,
no.
not even close.
No, and my personal issue, and this is just from my perspective, is that as a foreigner, because in LA you have so many foreigners being actors, right? Like people from like England, Australia, like a bunch of people from all over the world.
All over the world.
Right. Whereas in China, most of their stuff happens in Chinese with Chinese people. So there's not many, in comparison, there's not many foreigner characters. And so I felt like there was a cap to my acting career in China. I felt like the characters were very similar. There was no much depth of my characters. There was depth and variety on their characters, but not on mine.
Because
I
of
was
the way
just
you look.
Yes, because I had to like fit within this like character kind of box that all foreigners would go into, and so I just felt like I could have had a very successful acting career there when it comes to money, but it was like that's not what I want. I love acting for the craft. I don't want to do the same character over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And so
that's what it felt like.
a little, yeah. And so that's why I came here to do acting, because I feel like here is where there's no really a ceiling to what can be done.
What type of role would you want to play? Like if you could just paint your own character and build it up, like what would it be?
Okay, I have this idea. I don't know if it would work because I'm very white. Even though I'm Latino, I'm too white to have. I don't think like now we're trying to bring other main characters, right? Other ethnicities. So I feel like it's fine. I can be a supporting actor. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have any ego in this. But I would love. This is an idea that I've always had. I would love some sort of like Freaky Friday situation in which I change bodies with maybe like a Chinese girl.
Okay.
And so it's like I'm doing all these Chinese things and I do like martial arts and stuff, and she's just there chilling, like listening to hip hop and like speaking only English. You know what I mean? Like it would be such a cool contrast.
Yeah.
So that'd be a cool one to like showcase my language and my martial arts skills. But I have a whole list of things that I want to do. I want to be in a medical drama.
Yeah.
I want to be in a zombie apocalypse production, series, movie, whatever.
Where do you come up with these ideas?
Just stuff that I've always like.
Do you write them down, or do they just brainstorm? They live in your head.
Live in my head. Yeah.
Okay. You don't write anything down?
No. Because I feel like writing things down sets an expectation, whereas I'm open to changing my mind. And so whenever, I'm open. Like I want to take every opportunity that comes, anything that comes in. I want to be able to be like yes and consider it completely instead of being like,
did you do
no,
that?
but I want to do that
Yeah.
thing.
Did you do that for content creation as well, or did you write things down there like ideas?
I would write that thing down.
Those would you write down? Yeah.
Yeah, because that was more, especially at the end, it was more of a job. It was more like, okay, I need to come up with a video this week.
Because I feel like if I don't write things down, my mind will either change or the idea will get away from me.
Interesting. Right. If it's a really good idea,
like
I'll write it down.
I'll write shit down. Like I have notebooks of like just me word vomiting. And,
do you ever check back on them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely do. And then I'll be like, I would forget to read it. I mean, I forgot I wrote it down. I forgot I had that idea. Like, and the biggest thing is like I was reading. Do you know who Bob Dylan is?
Bob Dylan,
He's
singer.
yes, one of the biggest singer-songwriters of all time. And he went on some interviews and he was like, I don't even remember reading or writing that song.
I heard this quote.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, ideas leave you. And sometimes they might jump on over and someone else might grab onto it.
Right. But are you a believer that ideas
I think
are in the ether?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. You were talking about that with Pang. That's interesting. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Like if you, like the idea was there and if you didn't have it, someone else will.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right. It's like, I don't know.
I could see how there's a possibility of that being a thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that.
Well, I think it's just in my own experience because like I forget the ideas and I forget the things that I think about if I don't put them into a tangible, readable format.
I feel like if I were to forget that, it's because it wasn't that good of an idea to begin with. So that's kind of, again, maybe I'm missing out on a lot of things, but I think
I think that's important too though because like if it keeps circling back around,
you get stuck
and you're like, I have to do this now.
You're not open to new ones.
Yeah. It's like this has to happen now. I've thought about it way too many times.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so many factors in life that you can't control that just being stuck with something so bad, it's like, I don't know if it's a good thing.
Yeah. What are you most excited for in your life right now? You just got your visa. That's pretty exciting.
Just got my visa.
Shouts out. Congrats, bro.
Let's go. Thanks, man. I'm so happy about that. So, yeah, acting opportunities. I'm so ready. 2024, baby. Give me some acting opportunities.
So you're with Clear Talent Group, right?
Yes.
So for the people who don't know, like for the daily life of like an actor, like does an agency get jobs and like if Brian fits a role, they give the opportunity out to Brian and you audition for it and then so on and so forth? Pretty
much. So there's different ways, right? For somebody with an agent, you can have a manager, you can have an agent. Those are two different things.
Well, what's the difference?
So a manager kind of helps you create a persona and kind of like helps you be like, all right, you need to showcase this one thing, or you need to do a show reel, you need headshots, you need this and that. They would help you kind of build up your presence, so that people get to know you and tell you what events to go, and what to do. An agent just gives you jobs, right? And so
that was one of the best ways I've heard that explained to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's very simple, very straightforward. And so for an agent, brings you jobs and kind of, so they would have a whole list of actors, right? And so there's the breakdowns come in. They say we need a, white/Hispanic male, 20 to 30 years old, 5'8", and kind of thing. And
Does it get that detailed sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. And so they would just send it to all the people in their list that fall into that category. And so they would just send me an email, and I would get an email being like, "Hey, we have this thing. Can you do it within 3 days?"
Does it do with skill sets too? Like, would it say like martial arts guy or what is it?
It would. It hasn't happened yet to me, but it would. Yeah.
It would. So it does happen, or like a painter or a singer or something like that. Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and then you just do the audition. Right now, everything, at least on the first round, is mostly self-tape. So you do it at home.
How is that?
How is
self-tapes? How's recording yourself for like acting?
Well, I mean, ever since I started doing acting, it's always been self-tapes. Because
really?
Even when I was doing it in China they were doing
self-tapes.
Yeah. And so I think there's pros and cons, right? Self-taping, you have that control where you can do it as many times as you want and send the one that you're happy with.
Yeah.
Whereas in audition, you only get one shot. But also with an audition, you get that person-to-person kind of connection.
What we were talking about earlier.
And they can see who you are and they can like vibe with you and be like, I like that guy.
You don't think that connection can happen through a camera lens?
No.
Why not?
Because they first see that tape. You only send a tape. You don't show who you are in that tape. You just send the line, like the scene.
Yeah.
Whereas in an audition, you walk in, you're like, "Hi, my name is Ryan." You shake their hand. It's like, "Oh, I love your shirt," stuff like that.
And those things matter.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, whoever for now, it's not AI casting.
Yeah.
The casting person is a person.
Yeah.
And that person has lived a whole life. And that person has triggers. And that person has things they like.
Do you think about that a lot? Because
No.
looking at it objectively, like, sure. But like when I meet someone, I don't think about those things.
About
Like,
what?
Brian, nice to meet you. And then I'm like, dang, this guy's shirt's really nice. It looks like he's this way and blah, blah.
No, but when you're in casting, though,
Yeah.
I don't think about that at all.
Yeah.
I would hate myself if I would.
Yeah, I'd be
that,
like, that's a lot.
that would feel awful.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to, I just vibe. I just go with, you know, I like you, I don't like you.
Yeah.
I feel iffy about you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think about it because I hate making human relationships a numbers game.
A numbers game.
Well, like breaking it down into like factors and like
Okay.
like 1 to 10, like whatever. But casting is all about that. And so you're literally breaking down a person into, is this person good for this role? And so I feel like, yeah, they do that all the time. And so sure, self-tape is like way easier to see, okay, does this person have the skills? But
Are they the right person for the job? You don't know, because the characteristics of the person are not necessarily seen through the skill set of just acting alone.
yeah, and you can always ask for adjustments in the moment, and then you can see their adaptability to whatever that adjustment was on the spot.
Especially for a director, right? They want someone who could like quick and pivot.
Yeah, and also, if you're going to be filming for months, you want somebody who's going to be fun to be around.
Yeah.
You don't want an asshole in the set that's only like going to be like, don't talk to me, talk to the hand kind of thing.
I had this one real estate agent on the podcast, I think almost a year ago now, and he was like, people work with people they like, know, and trust. And once I heard that, I was just like, oh, just become a likable person, become a trustworthy person, and become...
But you are a likable person already. I think it's hard to become a likable person if you're not already one.
I don't think so.
No?
There's certain traits that make someone likable, right?
Like what?
You smile when you say hi, right? You make eye contact, you pay attention, you listen. Those are skills that can be taught, right? So say someone doesn't listen, doesn't have a good handshake, doesn't look you in the eye when I'm talking to you. You learn those skills, you become more likable.
Yes, but I do. Okay, this is touching some like. I think if you're already interested in improving in that way, I think you were already a likable person to begin with. You just didn't have the tools. You know what I mean? Because like somebody who's not likable is gonna be like, I'm not gonna smile to people. I don't care.
Okay, but the argument to that is like, you could have not liked me before because I didn't have those skills. You just came into my life when I had the skills.
We don't know that.
We don't know.
Maybe there's something else.
It could be.
They're like in the ether.
Sure.
That's like, I like this guy.
energies, the
He's
vibes.
never smiling. He doesn't make any eye contact, but I like this guy.
Could be. The world will never know.
You never know.
I mean, if you break down like skills like that, to me, because some people are just like, I'm not good at names. It's like
I suck at names.
you could get good at names though. There's this guy. His name's Jim Quick. Have you heard of him?
Jim Quick. Asian guy.
Yeah. Dang, you know your people. Every time I have someone on, like even Taylor, like I was like, Taylor, you know this guy? And she's like, no, I don't know anyone who you're talking about. And everyone I brought up, you knew him.
I know who you're talking about. He has like a memory system.
Memory coaching.
Yep, memory coaching.
And I followed him when I was 19 years old. So that was like 8 years ago now. Right? And I went to I watched this seminar that he did, and he said he had everyone stand up, I think in the first row. Maybe like 10, 15, 20 people. Don't really remember the exact amount. And he said, say your first and last name. And they said their first and last name, and he repeated every single name back.
That's great.
And I was like, yo, what? And this dude had like a ton of disorders growing up, and he like lived in the library, and he decided to like train his brain to be able to do these things. And it's from everything from diet, like he eats berries and 32 ounces of water in the morning and all these things.
I'm obsessed with nutrition, by the way. We could do a whole other podcast on that.
Yeah, I won't talk to you about fitness in a bit, but he has these drills that, like, for example, I was like, if I told you this hard name, let's say, just say Orion, right?
Okay.
And like you only met him one time, but I was like, Brian, if I paid you $1 million to remember this guy's name, like, could you? You would never forget it.
Yeah.
In 20 years from now, I was like, hey, do you remember the guy's name? You're like, yes, here's my $1 million. Like, so there's certain things that like will trigger the brain for you to remember it. Like that's like a big one right there. You know, like the incentive of money. You know, like obviously
and
that's
if
not
you can
it.
do that, then the option's there.
Yeah.
You can tap into that.
Yeah. It's just how do you trick your brain to be able to do that?
That's so funny because I like to go to Magic Castle a lot.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what the Magic Castle is, in my opinion, it's one of the oldest places in LA, or the standalone places in LA where you're only allowed to dress up classy as fuck, and they will not let you in if you don't.
Yeah. It's so
Like you have to wear, it's like suit and tie.
Yeah, suit and tie and shoes. Like even if you have like the nicest suit, but you have like Air Force or like sneakers, they don't let you in.
They don't let you in.
And it's basically a bunch of magicians in there doing magic in different rooms.
There's also members. You could become a member of it, but it's like half.
It's only member. Like it's if you're not a member or a friend of a member, you cannot go in.
Yeah, but you don't need to be a magician to be a member.
That's right. You can be an associate member. But it's like $6,000 a year.
It's a lot of money. No, it's even more than that sometimes, I think,
okay.
from what I understand.
Anyways, there's like a couple magicians there that remember everyone's name.
That's wild.
And I met this one time. What was his name? Matthew. Yeah, I remember. Shout out to Matthew. And he remembered my name. Even like I met him once. He remembered my name on this show. I was like, oh wow, that's impressive. He remembered everyone's name. And I saw him a month later, and I was like, what's my name? He's like, Brian. I was like, what the fuck? And the next time I went, I had this like sunglasses and a fake mustache in my pocket. And I saw him. I put it on. I was like, hey, what's my name? He's like, oh, Brian. I was like, how do you like? It just every time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like after the second time, he's got it down, though.
Probably.
And Brian's a pretty generic name. Like, I would definitely remember it.
Yeah, but like he's incredible. Like, and I'm like, I want those skills.
You can learn them.
Yeah, but it's so much easier to just say like, hey, what's your name again?
Yeah, but then that person doesn't feel special because they feel like you don't remember their name.
I feel like there's also like a warmth thing that you can be like, I'm so sorry. I really don't. I'm terrible with names. It's not like I forgot your name.
But every time anyone says that to me, I'm just like, no, you just didn't try hard enough.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's shitty to say, like in my head though. Like,
fair.
It's like clearly
it's a reaction.
I didn't make it. I mean, I don't say this out loud.
But you don't choose to feel that either.
Yeah. So like, obviously, if you said that to me, I'm like, oh, no worries, bro. My name's Nate. Like, nice to see you again.
I think I might have said that to you once before.
Maybe.
Because like I saw you a bunch of times at Kevin's place, but you were always like on the side or coming late, and I was like, who's that guy? And then I would leave. And
I'm definitely the guy in the friend group that's not around a lot.
I feel like you have been lately.
A little bit, yeah, for sure. The friend group that we have in LA is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
it's like everyone does different things.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing though. Yeah. Whenever we hang out, we're like,
it's like catch you up on like how's things, this and that. I think circling back to our own fitness is like one of the biggest things is like all of us are really healthy. Yeah, in terms of like we care about what we put into our bodies most of the time. And
we'll work out.
And we work out.
Yeah.
You know?
And we all, whenever we hang, it's not about like getting absolutely wasted and like eating pizza or hot dogs at 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
It's like
that's one part that I'm happy to get out of the hospitality industry because I bartended for 7 years and I love it. I love the people in there. A lot of them are artists, bro. A lot of them are artists. A lot of them are creatives. A lot of them are really good business people. But then there's this, alcohol, right? That like I'm really good about not getting addicted to substances, but like these creative people, bro, they get lost in the sauce of just like drinking, and then it makes it harder when the alcohol is their art form too. They make these beautiful cocktails, these tasty cocktails, and then the detriment to their body and their mind. And then I remember a couple days I'd like wake up, I'd go to bed at like 8 and wake up at like 4 p.m. I was like, yo, what are you doing with your life, bro? Like, so over the past years, I'm very disciplined within the sense of like, oh, I'll have a few drinks and I'll go home.
Yeah, that's good.
And I could do that. But like, I'll see some of my dearest friends in this space who are very talented and like their days are just wasted because you drink until 9 a.m., you're sleeping the whole day. And
you wake up feeling like shit.
And then you go back to work.
That's why I don't drink. My hangovers are the worst.
Yeah.
Like I barely drink. I'm having a drink now, but I barely drink.
Brian's fucked up right now, guys. He's drunk.
I am wasted, y'all. No, and I used to be a bartender, so I totally get that. And it's like you wake up and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah. But like not every athlete's the same athlete. Not every bartender's the same bartender. Not every artist is the same artist. Like
100%. There's nuance.
There's a spectrum to like how, you know.
Yeah, and if you have that self-control, you can do anything, you know.
Everything's good, okay in moderation, in my opinion.
Sure.
You know, there's this one Abraham Lincoln quote that I love. It's like, a man who has no vices has very little virtues.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Vices. Vices could be anywhere from playing too many video games. It could be sex. It could be girls. It could be alcohol. It could be this way, that. And
so I would describe vices as just letting kind of the body take over, the bodily needs, kind of, right?
Vices, in my opinion, are things that you enjoy, but with too much of them, it could destroy your life.
Okay, but isn't that everything?
That's my point.
Okay, but then everybody has virtues according to that quote. Like if everything can be a vice, then everybody has vices.
Everything can be a vice, but like I feel like the more vices you have, the more virtues you have, in the sense of like it could just be spread around a little bit.
Interesting.
Like,
okay. Maybe.
That was a good pushback, because everything can be a vice in that aspect. But I wouldn't define like water as a vice, right? But with too much water, you could get you could die. There's people from
you get over
Exactly. So maybe that's not the greatest definition of vices.
I don't know. We need that Google person.
No, because like I think Google's. I looked this up a while ago. We'll have to double check it, but it's like something that's detrimental. Like
okay,
yeah.
So a vice is something that's a detriment. Okay, but I mean, again, water can be detrimental if you do it too much.
That's what I'm saying.
But I guess if you choose not to do it too much, it's not a vice. Like you could do everything, but if you don't do it enough, then it's not a vice, and then you have no vices and you have no virtues.
All right, we're moving on. But I guess I don't like that quote as much anymore after I did that.
Sorry, I just ruined Abraham Lincoln for you. Sorry. Also, wait, I said earlier that I wanted to put a pin on something and bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back.
I have a hot take here.
Take it.
Because I know that you listen to a lot of podcasts and you're like trying to like make your life more efficient.
Me.
What do you think? Well,
yeah, you're right.
What do you think of making the bed first thing in the morning?
I don't think it's important.
Okay.
I think it does something for me.
I think it's stupid.
I think it does something for me. I think I'm the gay self-help guy that, okay, not gay, but like
What?
making my bed for me, like it does keep my mind organized. Like I like my spaces clean.
Yeah.
Right. So if my desk is dirty, if my room is dirty, I can't focus on, like, I'll do like my laundry and I'll do my dishes and then I'll clean my whole entire space and be like, okay, now I can do the work.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you so far.
But I don't need to do that to get the work done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For me, I really like a clean space to think clearly. But if I developed the skill of ignoring all of that, ignoring not making my bed, ignoring not doing the dishes, ignoring not cleaning the space, and just focusing on the emails, the edits, and this and that, I would get the work done faster.
Right. So my take is actually, because people say like, doing your bed first thing in the morning is the best thing you can do to start the day with like an achievement, blah, 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 blah. You're going to be so much better. You're going to make millions. When you sleep, you sweat and you shed skin cells. As soon as you close that bed first thing in the morning, that's all there cooking up a bacteria environment. Like, I let it open. I open the window. Let it flow, you know, for a little bit.
Or you could just like wash your bed sheets every like one or 2 weeks.
That's what I do. No, I wash my bed sheets every week, but it's still like
every week. That's impressive.
Every week, yeah, at least once a week.
That's impressive.
Make a Sudoku in the morning if you want that achievement. Like, you know what I mean? Have a Sudoku next to your bedside table. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's so many people that put like making your bed is like, it's not that big of a deal. It's actually probably not as clean as you think it is.
It's a very militaristic thing.
Yeah.
But I do get it. I mean, I get it because I do get satisfied when I make my bed and then I'm like, okay, let's win the day. But also, like, I know objectively, I was like, I don't, like, there's some days that I'll press snooze. Are you a snooze guy?
No. I actually don't like putting an alarm, but when I put
that's
an alarm,
ideal. That's ideal.
I just wake up.
You just wake
once,
up?
Yeah.
I guess
No snooze.
mine's really early. So, like, I have my alarms that go off at like 4 a.m., right?
Are you a psychopath?
I have personal training clients that start at 5.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, like,
and you just wake up half an hour before doing shit? Mm-hmm. Oh, man. I need like an hour to be ready for anything.
I mean, my gym is a 30-second walk too. So, like, I also train clients online. So, and the thing is, like, I prep everything the night before. I plan their workouts out, this and that. And this is my point that I'm about to tell you about the making the bed and everything, is if I decide not to have that hour, right, of productivity to start my day, and I want to get extra sleep in and start my work, like, sometimes my work starts 10 minutes after I get up. Wow. Maybe less than that, 5 minutes.
That's insane. That's insanity.
You think so?
What?
And then I'll work 8 hours straight. Like, I'll have 8 clients on Tuesday, like last Tuesday. I got up at 4:50. My client started at 5, and I went straight for 8 hours.
That's crazy.
And then I'll get my workout in and do everything. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I can't believe I did that.
What about like brushing your teeth, putting water in your face and shit?
I mean, there's like
washing your
five
face,
minute gaps in
eating
between there.
breakfast,
Yeah.
taking a dump.
Yeah. Like everything
That's already an hour for me.
everything goes away in the face of like what I need to get done.
That's cool though, dude. That's some commitment right there.
You know, so basically if I want my extra 30 minutes of sleep to get in, like, I'm going to sacrifice making my bed. Right. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice taking that shit in the morning. I'm gonna.
Right? Oh no, that's non-negotiable for me.
Non-negotiable. Like, it has to happen.
Well, right after that coffee, it has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, coffee is like, if I don't get up early enough to have coffee, I don't have coffee. That's why. So, like,
Optional.
So say if I have to wake up, have my session starts at 5, and I know I need an hour to get ready, which is ideally. Sometimes I'll wake up at 4, right? And I'll get up at 4. And
what time do you go to bed?
So I'm working on sleep because of bartending. So for the last year, bro, I averaged around 3 to 5 hours a night.
That's great. That's so bad for you. That's so much worse for you than anything else.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. And so I'm sleeping a lot better in the last week just because I don't bartend.
Do you nap?
Huh?
Do you nap?
I do nap. I'm a really good napper. I could probably go. I could take like 5-minute naps. They do great wonders, bro.
Oh, man,
also, like, every time I go to bed at night, like, do you have problems falling asleep?
Yes.
Like, I hit the pillow.
Not anymore, but yes.
I hit the pillow, I'm out.
That's awesome.
Like, light off, out. I don't remember any dreams.
All the time. Your body's like, yes.
Yeah, I'm
take
excited.
over.
I'm excited to see if I could dream.
Melatonin.
I'm excited to see if I'm gonna remember dreams since I'm gonna have more sleep. I'm so excited for this next year, bro.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's only 1 month into 2024. You got your visa. We're winning, bro.
It's a good year so far.
So far.
I don't want to jinx it because last year it started and I was like, I have a good feeling. The worst year of my life, literally. So 2024, baby.
You think it's the worst year of your life?
Yes, 100%.
But I feel like it was the worst year because you experienced so many great years.
That is true. I've always been so lucky. I'm the luckiest person you'll ever meet. And last year I was like, whoa, where did my luck go?
You're so confident when you say that.
Yeah.
Like, when you say I'm the luckiest person you'll ever meet, like, I truly believe that from you because you sound so confident when you say that.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're the luckiest person?
Like, I've had some crazy shit happen to me where it's like, what the actual shit, dude? Like, it feels like I have a guardian angel guiding my hand.
Can you give me an example?
Okay, I was studying medicine back in Argentina.
Okay.
I started when I was 17 after high school.
You're really interested in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck it, move on to the next.
Yeah.
Okay.
and I had this exam coming up, and I had 12 different units.
Okay.
To study, and they would make me pick one. Like that person, that person would pick one for me to expand on, and I didn't have enough time. I was like, you need to pick something to study, otherwise you're not gonna pass that test.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And I was like, which unit should I pick? And suddenly I was like at my dad's place, and I see the elevator, and the elevator was showing a number 11. And I was like, huh, interesting. And I keep walking. I'm like, wait, the building doesn't have 11 floors. It's only like an 8-story building. And I turned around and it said 8. And I was like, why was it showing 11? I was like, oh, let's just study 11. I studied unit number 11. I went to the exam, and as soon as I walk in, she's like, all right, let's talk about unit 11. I'm like, what the actual fuck? And my life is a bunch of situations like that, my dude. That it's been crazy.
Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that's
destiny?
A spirit? Do you think that is God? Do you think that is...
I've asked myself that question so many times. Like, I used to think it was like the ghost of my grandfather. I used to think it was... I mean, I'm not a religious guy.
I've never really experienced anything like that. But the first time that I've heard that from a friend was in high school. And he talks about how this light kept flickering. I forgot. It ended up having a good result like you did. And he was like, what's going on? And he goes to the light, and the light's unplugged. And it's like...
some crazy ghost shit right there.
And it will keep going on. And some good result happened. I don't remember the results of it. I just remembered the ending part of the story where he was like, it was unplugged, bro.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't think I believe in a lot of things. Yeah.
What an open answer.
Because I feel like the possibilities are endless. And I don't know, with science, right? Science to me is the faith that the future behaves like the past.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for example, you drop this cup, it goes to the ground.
Mm-hmm. So you think next time if you drop the cup, it's gonna
go to the ground. But if you do it 1,000 times, then it's been tested. That's the whole thing about like the scientific theory, right? Your hypothesis, your testing, and then the result, and then the theory. The theory that every time you drop this, it's gonna hit the ground. But the reason behind it has changed over time. So there's Newtonian gravity, right? Mm-hmm. Where you dropped the cup, and I forgot what it is. But then right now, science practices Einsteinian gravity, right? So it's a different theory that makes sense that the cup drops to the ground. But for so long, Newtonian gravity was true. Mm-hmm. And right now, Einsteinian is true. So the truth changes over time with...
I mean, quantum physics changed everything.
Yeah.
We thought we knew about physics.
100%. So, yes, sure. I believe ghosts might be real because of the stories that people tell me. Mm-hmm. Or I might believe, if you told me that you believe that a ghost changed that number 11, I'll be like, oh, wow, that's fucking cool. I wish I could have seen it.
I don't think it's a ghost.
Okay.
I think it's more like a closer to God than anything. I'm not a religious person, so I don't... I don't know why I asked you the ghost thing, but... let me give you another example, which I think is really cool. I was in Norway.
Okay.
I had just gotten to this really cute town called Stavanger. And I was like, I feel like I need to stay here for a bit. And I didn't have enough money. Just a feeling.
Okay.
And I was like, let's try to get a job. And I went to the library. I printed out some CVs, like CVs, is that what you call it?
They're called resumes here.
Resumes, yeah.
A CV is curriculum vitae. Yeah.
A resume, a bunch of resumes, and it was like all fake because I hadn't had a job before.
Like you just made them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to this restaurant called Mexico, and I walk in, I'm like, do you think I can get a job without speaking any Norwegian? Like, I literally said that to the guy. He's like, yeah, can you start tomorrow? I was like, dope. And after that, I just go, and I'm like, where am I going to stay tonight? I don't have enough money for a hotel. They're super expensive. It's Norway. And I was sitting at a bench in a public square with my luggage, tiny luggage. No, actually, I had a backpack. I was sitting there, and I see this guy selling almonds. And he looked like really poor. He looked like he was struggling. And I was like, look at my wallet. I had like some money. I was like, I'm going to buy some almonds. I feel like this guy needs it more than I do.
Yeah.
I go there, buy the almonds, go back to the seat. And as I'm eating the almond, this guy comes to me and goes like, hey, do you have time to talk about Jesus Christ? And I'm like,
sure,
why not? And he sits next to me and he starts telling me about Jesus and about like his friends from this like prayer house and whatever. And he's like, would you want to come to the prayer house? I was like, I have nothing to do. Let's go. I end up in this like prayer house in the middle of Stavanger, Norway. Bunch of really cool people, and they go like, "Oh, welcome," and like they were eating like cinnamon buns and like making tea for everyone and playing guitar. And suddenly, I'm like having the greatest time. I never thought I could like from being on a bench eating almonds to like, and then one of them goes like, "Yo, where are you staying?" I'm like, "Oh, I actually don't have a place to stay." And they're like, "Dude, you could stay with us." It was like a couple, and they're like, "You can stay with us, no problem." It's like we have an extra room. I was like, "Really?" Like, yeah. And I stayed with him for like a week until I found an apartment there. And it just felt super like, if I was like, yeah, I mean, this is.
So how are you not religious if you had that story happen? If this guy, this almond guy, talks to you about Jesus Christ and it takes you to this place, like those stars align from the story.
So that's funny because I kind of went down a rabbit. I was like, oh, maybe this is a calling. Maybe.
Yeah. For sure.
Maybe religion, maybe Christianity is the way to go. And then as I was thinking that, all these other weird people started coming into like the prayer house, and people who were like, "Yo, are you religious yet? Are you Christian yet?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm still kind of." It's like, they will grab the Bible and be like, "Read me a passage." It's like, "What about now?" I'm like, "Dude, you just read a paragraph from a book. Like that doesn't change anything."
Yeah.
And then I was like, I started feeling weird, and it just felt like, all right, I was like, this is my time to step away and stay in touch with the people that I was vibing with. But like, this has become a toxic environment, and I need to get out of here.
There's always certain, like, because I've had those experiences where everything aligns and something good happens. And it's like, oh, is that it? Is that the reasoning? I'm like, maybe. And then something like you just said, like reading a book. And are you that yet? I'm like, well, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, and it turns you off, you know? And then you think about world cultures and you think about, we went to so many dope temples in Japan. You're like, is this all fake? Is the real thing just Christianity? It's like, I don't know. Like all these millions of people believe in this Buddha guy, right?
Do you feel like it's all the same?
That's the other thing that I was like, is this the same? And then I'm like, that's the closest thing that I can think of to it.
Right, because I mean, all different cultures have different languages. It's just like sounds that you make to express thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so religions are explanations and buildings that they use to explain beliefs.
Yeah. And I don't think I've had enough time in the last few years to really dig down and discover what I believe. But the one thing that I do want to do is become the best person I can, right?
I love that.
So like live my life as if God exists, meaning be a good person, be kind to others, you know? And if you do that, if you do the actions without the belief, right? Similar to what we talked about with the bed, right? You don't need to make your bed to build a business, right? You don't need to go to a church to be a good person, right? Just do the actions that make the results of the person or the thing that you want to achieve and be.
Fucking love that.
You know?
I feel the same. I'm not a good person because I think I'm gonna go to heaven.
Yeah.
It's just a good person because I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like there's this thought experiment that I love. Basically, picture your funeral. Picture all of the people you love and that love you there. You're dead. What would you like for them to think? What would you like for them to say? What would you like your tombstone to read? It's like whatever the answer to that is, you need to make sure that all your decisions you make are aligned with that.
I used to think that way. I don't think that way anymore.
Okay, what changed?
This is kind of meek. This kind of like, I don't know if you'll like it, but for example, I don't know my great-grandfather, right? And that's just 3 generations away. So over a long enough time horizon, no one will remember you. And therefore, the only person that you should do the things for is not the people at your funeral, but for yourself.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I like that you said that because I don't use that analogy to be like, I want the validation. I want what other people think. It's just
Mm-hmm.
more to put it in perspective of who do you actually want to be.
Yes, I agree.
And so that allows me to think, all right, this is who I want to be. Not because other people are going to say it, just because that's who I want to be. Regardless of who the fuck remembers me or
Yeah.
who says what.
Yeah.
But if that's who I want to be, then I need to start now. That's kind of like
Yeah.
what that thought experiment helps me with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just from a daily life thing. Like, for example, I want to be known as a good friend because the friends in my life have done wonders for me. And so, what are the characteristics of a good friend? Characteristics of a good friend to me are someone who responds on time, who is on time, who reliable, who listens, you know. And okay, I was like, okay, this is what I define a good friend to be. I'm going to develop those characteristics to become a good friend, you know. And same thing with like loyalty, right? Like, I have experienced so many loyal people in my life who have never let me down. I was like, I want to be like that. So if that's in a relationship, it's like, oh, I'm loyal. So that means no matter what, like you need to know that you're my girl, right? And I could have a ton of other like girlfriends, guy friends, this and that. But like whoever I'm with, they know that I would never cheat. But I have a ton of girlfriends just because like I define myself as loyal and I have the characteristics that,
Same.
You know?
I feel like we're very similar in that sense.
Yeah. You have a lot of girlfriends too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have most of my friends happen to be girls.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, it's not like a proactive thing that I look for that. It's just like it just happens. I vibe more with,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I think girls.
I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think growing up in Argentina, I felt rejected by the other dudes because I didn't like football. I didn't like soccer. And so it was more like, oh, you don't like soccer? You don't like cars? You're gay.
Yeah.
And so it was like I was like, what the fuck? And so I kind of grew up being like, I don't need to be the guy that, you know, plays soccer and soccer. Like we're all a tribe, let's go, kind of thing. And so I think a lot of men grow up with that mentality. And so I think I just didn't relate to that later on. And it's just like,
Yeah. Well, I think men have a tendency to be more closed off and like
emotionally, yeah.
emotionally and only interested in a few things. Right. So for example,
Very focused.
Yeah, it's that focus for you when you grew up, it was soccer and football. Soccer and cars. For me, like it was regular football and regular football. Like in baseball. Like that's what America's built on. America's built on the Super Bowl and it's America on the World Series of like whatever. And it wasn't until I moved out here that, like for example, you met Tommy, sword guy.
Yeah.
And like he built this whole community on anime and these big swords. And he's gotten all these people to work out who love anime, who are dorks, who are nerds.
Awesome.
You know? And there's not one way to do it. Like he's changing bodybuilding. Like working out isn't just bicep curls anymore with dumbbells. Like
That's awesome.
It's swinging a fucking 20-pound sword and it's hard as shit.
And there's so many people who wouldn't have worked out that now have that motivation because it's like, I want to look like my anime character.
Yes.
I want to look like,
I want to swing the sword like Guts, you know?
Yeah.
I want to fucking be the main character in my own movie.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to be Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy.
I need to get into anime, bro. I don't know anything about it.
That's fine. That was from a video game. So
Okay. See, my point proven. I do like Avatar, though. Like, I've watched Avatar 2 or 3 times.
Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Last Airbender.
Yeah. What do you think of the live action coming up?
I don't know. The thing with me is,
It just has to be better than the 2010
it does have to be better than the 2010 one. But
no way.
The thing with me is, like, are you... Like, I'll ask you, are you most, like, excited for a show coming up for you? Or, like, the next move? Like, I don't really are affected by anything until it comes. So I signed up for Ultra Marathon, right? And I did it December 16th was when I did it. Not that long ago.
What's an ultra marathon?
Anything more than 26.2 miles.
Oh, I thought a marathon. Oh, wait. I do kilometers. How much is that in kilometers?
Don't know.
A marathon is like 42 kilometers.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, 42, sure.
Because that's just the distance between the... There was like a Greek guy.
Yes.
That did
The Roman guy.
Roman. Okay.
Yeah.
The marathon trench.
It could
it's
be.
like
It could be Greek.
I have
don't
no
know.
idea.
We're fucking up, guys.
We're ignorant.
It was, yeah. Ignorance is truly bliss, honestly.
But that's like the distance, and
The
I think
distance.
it's 42 kilometers.
Okay, so it was, if it was
So
it's more than 42 kilometers.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
And I didn't really train for it. So I did say half of 42. So I did around like 21 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
That was my only training, right? And everyone's like, are you nervous or this and that? I was like, I don't know. It's going to happen when it happens. Like, I'm going to get it done or I'm not. Like, and that's the whole thing with like my life lately. I just, I don't get it. My emotions don't get spiked up or down. It's just, I confront the thing every time it comes up and it's been doing well. So
That's
like,
amazing.
yeah, like,
Because the biggest frustrations in life come from the rupture of expectations.
yeah,
So by you just not building up an expectation,
Zero.
you're gonna save yourself from so much frustration and
Yeah.
just pain.
yeah, dude, I haven't experienced anxiety or depression in a long time. And like,
Let's fucking go, my man.
I just don't know what it is. Like when people talk about it, I feel bad because I can't relate. Like I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Like I remember when I was in college and I was 19 or 20 at the time, 21 even, and I felt sad, depressed, this and that. But like I'm not that person anymore. Like I've developed. Like I'm a different human being than I was then, you know, and I don't know that guy anymore. You know, so I could kind of when you talk about how you were having anxiety and depression and recent
Just anxiety.
experience, yeah, anxiety, right? I'm just like, dang, that sucks, dude. Like, and I've heard of depressions when you think about your past, and anxieties when you're thinking about like what's happening in the future, and that's when it comes up. And I'm just like, I don't really know what's gonna happen in the future. I really don't care either. I mean, I do have things that I want to do and this and that, but it's such a different perspective that no one else close to me has really like bonded with. I was just like, it's different.
You just live in the present. You're like,
I try
very
my best
present.
to.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah, but obviously, I think about the future sometimes.
Yeah, but you
Sometimes
don't let
I
it.
think about
You don't
us.
let it take over. You
I
don't
don't
let
let it take over.
control your life.
Yeah, and I'm a happy person, so therefore I think it's working.
Yeah, that sounds super healthy.
Yeah. And so, but the thing is, like, not a lot of people can relate to me on it because they don't live the same way. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I mean,
So I'm trying to figure
I
it
think
out.
the way most people live is not healthy. So,
Okay.
so I think you're onto something.
What does fitness do for you?
Fitness.
Back to the health.
Oh man, fitness is such a big thing in my life. Just that I think just movement in general, just the physical movement creates this chemical thing in our brains. Like I think we have evolved to be in constant movement. And I think just by moving, we kind of, I don't even know how to say this, but it's like, it's so satisfying to me to just like go to the gym, do sports. It's just so relaxing. And I know this sounds crazy because you go there to get stressed, right? Like the whole
body's
point of
getting
us
stressed.
going to the right, acute stress. And it's just, to me, if I don't go to the gym or I don't do any form of sports, I feel super uncomfortable. I could not spend a whole day inside.
Can you describe this uncomfortability?
It feels like I'm doing something wrong.
But there's a lot of people who do stay inside and don't have that feeling. Like they would want that feeling. Does that make sense? Like, how do you develop that feeling of like, fuck, I need to do this? Like this.
That's a good question. I don't even know if it's like a genetic. No, it can be a genetic thing because my parents, none of them work out.
Yeah.
Maybe it has to do with discipline. Just like I've been doing it for so long. I've been working out ever since I was 15.
Yeah.
And I think it's become second nature to me. I could go to the gym every single day, multiple times. And there's something about using your muscles and just like that animalistic part. We're so digital now that just doing something physical that requires for you to put an extra effort on your muscles, on your body, I just feel like a huge satisfaction from it, like a huge reward from my own body, like a chemical reward into my brain. It just, I guess it's endorphins, right? But it just feels so good to me to even stretch, even just to stretch, just that feeling my body. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so much more powerful than anything else.
Makes you feel alive.
It makes you feel, yeah,
Definitely that.
more alive than anything else. Like when you're in your phone scrolling down things, like I don't feel alive at all.
Yeah,
I feel like I am a zombie.
Yeah. What's the most What's the most alive movement or physical activity that you do?
The most, the one that makes me feel the most alive.
Yeah.
Cycling
Cycling. Okay.
and sword practice.
Why cycling? Why sword practice? I get the sword practice. I don't understand the cycling.
I think it was related to when I was a teenager, and the only thing I had was like a bicycle. And whenever I was feeling angsty or whatever, I would just go on a ride in the middle of the night
That makes sense.
for like hours. And I would come back 2 hours later, and I was like, all right, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But every time I'm on the bicycle, I feel like a kid, man. My inner child is happy as fuck.
This makes sense now. Why sword fighting? Or why sword flowing?
Because I feel like a badass.
I feel like that. I
Yeah,
feel alive.
I feel unstoppable, dude. Like if I were to be training with a sword and some fucking huge dude, The Rock, wants to mess with me, I would take him.
Yeah.
I would try at least. He would probably beat my ass, but I would fucking try. I would have the
You would have the belief that
I would
you'd
I
fuck
would
him up.
believe that I can destroy that motherfucker.
Really?
Yeah. I'm unstoppable when I'm doing swords.
Mine is I've been doing these like barefoot runs. You see the sandals. and
Yeah. What's that all about? We haven't had this conversation.
everything. We've never had these conversations. No, I haven't told you.
we haven't talked about the sandals. Is that like your own business or is that like a thing?
Everyone at my gym wears them. They're called Mazatlis,
Mm-hmm.
and they're based on ancient Mayan like sandals. Like if you look at the statues of them, they have the double loops
Mm-hmm.
instead of the single one, like for a flip flop, and they're wrapped around. But basically, like barefoot running or barefoot walking or grounding. Do you know the science of grounding at all?
Yes, like where you go barefoot into like actual like dirt, like grass.
Do you know the reason behind it?
I think it's magnetic, electric like currents.
Yes. So those magnetic electric currents, they boost up the pH in your blood. Does that make sense?
No,
Okay, so a lot of people drink pH water.
I've heard it's so much stuff against it's complete bullshit.
Yeah, the pH water is bullshit.
Okay.
Or are you talking about the grounding's bullshit?
Just anything that changes the pH of your blood, because apparently it's such a thin line
It's
that
tiny.
if you go a little bit over or a little bit under, you're dead.
I
Like
don't
your
actually know
body
that.
is so good at controlling the pH of your blood that anything that changes it, you be dead.
Okay, that could be true. This might be a whole fuck up then. We'll have to look it up. But from what I understand, the whole pH in water is bullshit. It's
Okay.
like just a scientific. I mean, it's just like
Because your stomach has such a strong pH that it would neutralize anything.
it's
that
just
you-
a business, right?
yeah.
So for the grounding, this magnetic like whatever tension, it basically is the only way to properly like get your blood pH correct. And you could actually test the magnetic waves by like pinching like a magnet, and you can't feel it, but like it shows that there's something happening. And also, if you look at like feet and shoes, like some shoes are narrow and they're not meant to like hold your foot. Like your foot is supposed to be like just as usable as your hands. Like if you believe in, I guess, evolution and apes and monkeys and how
They have like more
Yeah,
usable
stuff.
fingers. I have a friend that puts like silicone things in between
so
his
it's
toes
similar reasoning.
and gets bigger shoes.
So it's similar reasoning.
Shout out to Will.
Shout out Will. And I don't know, for me personally, I used to have a lot of knee and ankle pain running in regular shoes, and now I don't. And that reason alone is why I'm using them.
Man,
Right?
I'm a huge believer in experimenting in yourself,
Yeah.
and whatever works for you,
Yeah.
don't listen to
And
even
the second
science.
thing is when you're hiking or running, you get a lot of blisters because you sweat. You don't sweat in those sandals at all.
Right. What's the grip like?
The grip is really good. So Vibrum's the grip.
Vibranium.
Have you heard of Vibram?
No, I heard of vibranium. from
Vibram's
Marvel.
different.
No, I know. I know. What's Vibram?
Vibram's just like this really grippy rubber at the very bottom, and it's used in a lot of shoes and hiking boots.
Okay.
But it's on these sandals.
How much are these sandals?
We'll talk after. But they're pretty pricey. They're like $130.
Okay.
Yeah, but most alive is like when we'll run in them at night or early in the morning. You'll hear coyotes. You'll hear you'll breathe in Mother Nature, and you just hear nature's sounds, and you see the sunset rise or see the sunrise, and then see the sunset in those areas, and you're just like, whoa, this is my heart's beating fast as fuck. Like it's the most alive that I feel when I do it, because like lifting weights is cool. You're in a gym, you're pumped up, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But
the gym has that thing. It's not, you don't feel like super alive. It's great, but it's like,
yeah,
you need that extra. The gym is still within space,
Yeah, again, you didn't mention the gym. You said cycling and swords play.
Yeah.
Like that's like there's something like you like the gym, but it doesn't make you feel alive.
It makes you feel more alive. I mean, to me, more alive than being on the couch.
For sure.
But it's still not quiet there. Because it needs to be, the gym is just so automated. Whereas when you have a purpose, when you play a sport, or when you have like a goal, right?
Yeah. Are you a goals guy?
No, but when it comes to like fitness, I think that matters. I think we need that purpose. I'm not a goals guy, but I do believe that whenever I have purpose, I feel so much more alive.
What's your definition of purpose?
It's a good one. There's different levels, right? Of what's the purpose of your whole life? What's the purpose of this couple hours? What's the purpose of, you can have purpose by just getting a shitty job that tells you what to do next.
Yeah.
Right?
That's your purpose. You have a purpose in your role to fulfill a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And your purpose in life could be to be happy or to like have a family. It could be different things. But
Yeah. Like a mom. Like
sure.
Purpose to provide for your kids and take care of them.
Sure.
Versus like have a job to X, Y, Z.
Right. I think all those things could be purpose. I do think purpose is more of a deeper soul kind of meaning. I mean, it can be applied to both, but I think whenever I speak of purpose, it's more of a bigger thing.
So your point?
What? I don't know. What was I saying?
So you were like, I think I need goals to have the purpose.
Right. So when you're talking about fitness, like the gym, the point is the purpose, I guess, is to get bigger or like whatever, or like lose weight. But then once you have a goal, like for example, you're playing soccer, you need to get that ball inside that goal thing. That I think helps so much more with the running. Like to me, I don't like running. But whenever I'm running for something, and again, I don't like soccer, but like I'm using that as an example.
Yeah.
Whenever I have
pickleball. Pickleball's big, bro.
Pickleball. Like if I need to get there and like hit that ball, so much easier to run. I don't even think about running.
About it. Yeah.
Right. And so that makes the running so much better. I think purpose helps mitigate a lot of other things. So yeah, I think it's super
And
important.
that could be used with anything. Like if you don't like to do some type of work, like, oh, what's the purpose of the work? And therefore the work doesn't seem as hard.
Right. Or like remembering names. What's the purpose? Getting $1 million? You'll do it.
Yeah.
If you don't have purpose, you won't.
Dang. That's an interesting perspective, because if people could define the purpose of the actions that they do, the actions will not feel like work.
Preach.
Right? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you got to find how to trick your brain, I guess.
Trick or find the purpose.
Or just find it. Yeah. If there is one. Because like, I guess, for example, let's say you get a job. Let's say I absolutely hate driving, but I'm like, I need to pay the bills. I'll get a job as an Uber driver, right? What's my purpose? My purpose is to make money. I don't think that's going to make it any better, right?
I think you'll still dislike it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how can you make it
enjoyable?
How can you find purpose there? You could be like, all right, well, what if my purpose is to actually meet people change it up, like meet people, talk to people, put on a character for every single client that comes in, to practice my acting skills. This next one, I'm going to be a Russian guy that speaks with a very thick accent. That was a horrible Russian accent, by the way. You know what I mean?
It was pretty good in my opinion.
Acting. But you know what I mean? Like you can tweak it.
Yeah.
And
you can tweak it to where it adds value to your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was a good perspective too, bro. Because anyone who drives Uber, you think of a negative connotation, right? A lot of times.
I don't know anybody. I have a lot of friends that do it. I don't know any of them that like, this is my dream job.
Yeah, that's not the point. But
Right.
the thing is, like, every day I get the chance to make money while practicing doing something that
Exactly.
I love, and that could be acting in your car every time someone comes.
Exactly.
And then also it's providing you value because you need the money to survive.
Exactly.
That's such a good perspective switch.
So that's what I was doing in China. A lot of my friends would be like, "Oh man, whenever I get into the cab, the drivers ask me the same thing. Where are you from? Do you like our food here in China?" And it's like, it's so boring. It's always the same conversation. I was like, dude, that's awesome. To me, I use that as an opportunity to speak Chinese and practice my Chinese. I make up a different story every time. Like last time I was from Egypt. This time I'm from America.
Have you done that before?
Yeah. Like I would change it up every time.
So I mean, you're obviously it's acting, but technically you're lying.
Yeah. I would, if they would have asked me, "Are you lying?" I would have said, "Yeah." You know, it's irrelevant. They don't care.
I could not even think about doing something like that, bro.
Yeah, just put on a different story. Make it up on the spot. Improv a different story. I'm a different.
Because you're not going to see the person
Exactly.
again. But also that
They don't
sounds
give a shit.
crazy.
They don't give a shit. It does sound a little bit crazy, but I learned Chinese, bro. So
Maybe
who's
that's
crazy now.
Maybe that's the best way to learn a language is every time you interact with someone,
Lie.
like, you lie. No, you just make up a different story. Like, because then you could use different words that, wow.
Yeah, well, that's why I did that.
That's
Yeah.
a secret. That's
Yeah,
a
because I
secret.
kept saying the same thing over and over again. I was like, I feel like there's a missed opportunity here.
What's your biggest advice to like learning languages? Because there's a ton of people out there who have been wanting to learn just a second one, let alone a third or fourth, a second one, but like they just haven't got themselves over the hump to where they can speak fluently.
I think my best advice would be force your brain into situations in which you can only use that language. So the best thing you could do for a language is like, if I want to learn Chinese, move to China with no friends. I know that's unrealistic, right? So try to make an environment in which you absolutely have no other option.
So if that's like a club or like Chinatown or like
Right.
yeah, something
Start
like-
going to a Chinese supermarket that you know the person doesn't speak English, and just only use Chinese, even if you know zero. You know ni hao,
Yeah.
right? Go and say ni hao. Then they're gonna say something else. You repeat it until at some point you figure out what it means.
how
you know?
to do a sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna suck. It's really gonna suck. But your brain, once you're given no other option, is gonna learn so much faster.
Yeah.
It's crazy how when you have no other choice, your brain just goes like, all right,
It's like a fight or flight thing.
let's go.
Yeah. It's the whole thing with if you burn the boats, like you have to survive on the island.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, how are we going to figure this out? You know? And to treat language as like that is super cool because there's a lot of people who just give excuses and not just language, but their goals. And if you burn the options and you just have that one choice, like, I don't know, how do you feel about like what's it called? Your backup plan.
I don't know. I feel like if you
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
don't have a backup plan.
exactly, and that you have to make it work.
Yeah, have to make it work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that. I always say I have a backup plan, but I never actually do.
Yeah. I used to have one. Like but the only reason why I said I used to is because that's what society tells you to do.
Right.
It's like you move out to LA, you do the thing. Like for me, it was like doing I didn't even know what I wanted to do out of college. And I said I wanted to bartend and do personal training. And they were like, "Oh, my family would be like, "Oh, you can't
Don't do that.
You can't do personal training. Like, do you have a backup plan? Like this and that." I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure. Like I could go to school after this and that."
Exactly.
Blah, blah.
Just for them not to worry, but you didn't.
No, but like that was my backup plan.
Oh, okay, you did. Okay.
No, because like society told me I needed to have a backup plan. But it wasn't until like a few years later I was like, why? Like, what's the purpose of
like
it?
it will only take less effort on the main plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I decided, I was like, no, I'm gonna get rid of the backup plan in my head. And
Because
then,
your brain's gonna change.
and so once I did that, my bartending career and personal training both took off. And I was like, you just cut off the options. And then the one option is just you have to make work.
Yeah.
Have to make work.
Yeah. It's
You're
like
gonna learn Chinese, guys.
like that scene in Batman. Exactly. It's like that scene in Batman where, you know, he's like climbing up with that person and he does it without the rope.
Yes.
And he finally, like,
Yeah.
that was the whole point. That was the only thing holding him back. It was the rope.
Yeah. Ooh, it's such a good metaphor, bro. It's like the safety net's gone.
Yeah.
That rope is gone. And
it's like, you know, when you have a bicycle and you have the little trainer wheels on the side.
yeah. It's the only thing is like the thing is most of the times you won't die. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And as long as you know that.
I feel like death is the biggest like that's the worst thing that can happen. Like if you throw yourself into a Chinese market, the worst case scenario is what? No one understands you.
And you're like a little bit embarrassed.
And you're a little bit embarrassed.
That's it.
Same thing with dating, bro. That was a big thing. It's like, why are you not afraid to ask the girl? Like, what's the worst that can happen? It's literally no.
You know what was the technique that kind of helped me get out of that fear? Literally going out to get rejected. I started going, I only did it a couple of times and it just worked immediately. It's like, go and just be an absolute idiot.
How did you build the courage to do that? That's interesting.
But it just takes up so much pressure. It's
so
just,
much.
I read it online. They were like, just do that. And I was like, huh, okay.
Yeah.
I just went up and like started saying like random shit.
Yeah, when you treat the rejections, the no's in life as a win, therefore each rejection that you get, the negative, is actually a positive.
Yeah.
You change the game.
Yeah.
You switch the rules.
Yeah, I remember I went up to, I think it might have been the first girl I ever approached after that. And I was like, hi, I'm Brian. I'm broke. I'm only 5'8". I'm not tall at all. I'm not gonna get any taller either. And I just like started saying shit like that, and she's like, "You're funny."
That is funny.
And she's like, "Buy me a drink." I was like, "All right." And then we just like,
With what money?
yeah, whatever. Like I don't remember.
It was a joke. But that's such a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, tricking the brain to do things is more difficult than it sounds. Like that sounds easy, but the action part, I mean, is hard.
But I think it's so much easier because like we're so afraid of failure because we never done it on purpose. Once you do it on purpose, you're like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
So it's so
You're
much
not gonna
easier.
die, bro.
It's so much easier to go and fail on purpose right now.
Yeah.
And not be afraid ever again than to be afraid all of your life.
Yeah. And so many people live their whole entire life in fear.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that deep, guys.
It's really not that hard. And I feel like people don't really talk about it. I think it got naturalized. It's like such a common thing that it's like, oh, you're the weird one. You're doing weird shit.
Yeah.
No, that should be the standard.
Yeah. It's like normalize it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those things hold people back from doing the things or learning the things that would make their life better. Like, for example, Chinese. If you didn't decide to throw yourself into China, right, your life would be totally different. And you probably got a lot of positives out of it. For the girl stuff, asking girls out, like, you going through that experience of being weird and like going out and searching for the rejection to any normal guy, like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You know?
Yeah, what are you doing? But it's like, now I know it can only get as bad as that one thing I did on purpose.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
It was fine. And it was fun. And it worked.
Yeah.
You take the barriers off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Alrighty. Well, I think that's all I had. We've done 3 fucking hours, bro.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
That's oh, my goodness gracious. Fuck yeah, my dude.
Where can everyone find you?
I guess Instagram. Brian O'Shea 93.
93.
I don't know which camera I'm talking to.
Anyone?
Brian O'Shea 93. Feel free to follow me on Instagram.
Nice.
I have other socials if you use Douyin, Weibo, Xiaohongshu.
Before we conclude, Xiabobo, how do you I guess like how did that name become your nickname?
Xiabobo.
Yeah.
Xiabobo is because my English name is Brian O'Shea, right?
Yeah.
The initials are B and O. Bo. And then I was like, Bo sounds cute.
Yeah.
And then I like summer. Xia, it means summer. Xiabobo, it's summer waves, kind of.
That's very Cali boy of you.
It's like very straight up.
And the last thing was, you've done all these kind of cool interviews with like Tom Holland, Chris Wansworth, all these things.
Yep.
Like, how did you end up doing that? Is that all just food stuff?
Yeah, so it was basically, because I had traffic, those celebrities were going to China to promote their movies. Tom Holland was promoting Spider-Man 2, Ryan Reynolds, Detective Pikachu, and Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson were promoting Men in Black. And so they were looking for local content creators to like promote the movie, and
Okay.
the content creator that spoke English.
So that makes sense because like they have to go to other parts of the world to promote.
Right.
Because no one's just gonna find it out by themselves.
And they don't speak Chinese, so they needed people that spoke English. And so
I didn't know that. So that's a huge marketing thing too. Like actors go around and they find content creators.
and they
to
do it
that.
for free because it's like the exposure.
How were those experiences?
It was pretty good. I think my personal favorite was Tom Holland. He was like super chill, super down to earth.
I heard good things from people
he
who've
was
interacted with them.
He was so chill, such a cool guy. I feel like with Ryan Reynolds, I was a little disappointed. He's great. It's just that I think we were told that he was, having anxiety or whatever, and so we only had like 3 minutes with him.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to I wanted
Get
to
deeper.
talk, about.
Yeah.
We could only ask the questions from the script. And I was like, I wish I could have talked. But again, I understand.
There's something beautiful about a long form conversation like the one that me and you're having right now. You get deep into the nitty gritty of just like how someone, like you could ask a simple question, right? But like there's more to the answer than just the answer.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think that way? And like, okay, you think this way because of what child life experiences. Okay, name those child life experiences. Those are so cool. I get why you are who you are now, or why you answered the question the way you did. There's the layers to it.
Yeah.
And just like a
Nuance.
simple interview questions, like I don't feel like they get to the beautiful part of the person can't express what they truly mean. Make sense?
No, 100%. 100%. It was very like formulaic and kind of like business, like one question and one answer. All right, next question.
Yeah.
And it was like I didn't get to know him at all.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I get it. It wasn't the point of that interview.
Point of the interview is just to like blow up the movie.
Right.
It's crazy with entertainment and business. There's such a fine line for it. I mean, like there's the creative part, and then there's the business side of it. And it's like I want to be the creative part. I want to act. I want to do all these things, but you also have to do the business side. Do you ever have like a hard time balancing both?
Yeah, and that's I think with not only with entertainment, just art in general.
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of find a balance between what you want to do and what people consume.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's just finding that midline. Because if you sell yourself completely, you're gonna make money, but at the end of the day, people are gonna be like,
Yeah. And then if you create everything that you want to create for you, like there's some people that I guess wouldn't vibe with it.
probably most people.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be able to live out of it.
Yeah, there's
So,
both
I mean,
sides.
I'm sure there's lucky people out there that did only what they wanted to do, and that sold. That was
Yeah.
just happened to be what people wanted. And on the other spectrum, people who were only doing what sells, and they were super popular too. But I think the best an artist can do is like be in the middle.
Yeah. What does creating things in art, making art do for you?
Give life meaning.
How so?
If we can't create, I don't know what else we're here for.
Yeah.
Like I think creation is everything.
Yeah.
Just squeezing the creativity juices and kind of being like putting your soul out there. It's like an expression of your soul.
Yeah.
If we can't do that, I just don't know. I don't know what else we can do. Like I don't know what else.
It's because it's your gift that you need to give to the world, I guess.
Not even. It's more of a selfish thing. It's like I don't know. I feel like all of my feelings, all of my emotions
Need to be
need
released.
to come up. They need to be released. Yeah.
It's not even I need to give myself to the world. It's like I need to do it for me to have a better existence.
Yeah.
It needs to come out.
Yeah. And if people appreciate it, great. If not,
Great.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to make it your job, then you need to meet halfway with what people want to see. If it's not your job, if it's just creation for the sake of
Do whatever
creation,
the fuck you want.
do whatever the fuck you want. If it's
Yeah.
your hobby, who gives a shit what people like?
There's a lot of people who just like love their hobbies. They do their regular job and they have no pressure to make any money out of it.
Yeah. They paint in their free time and like whatever.
So cool. I love that perspective, bro. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, man.
It was
Anytime.
a pleasure.
That was awesome. I had a great time.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Go follow Brian on, I guess mostly Instagram, right? Brian O'Shea
Yeah, let's do
93.
Instagram.
All the links will be below. And we'll see you in the next one, guys.
Peace out.